Chapter 943, Martial Sister. Chapter 943, Martial Sister. As the purple sword ray swooped down, the Golden Core State Cultivator immediately realized that Yi Mo wasn't at Foundation Establishment State Level 7. No matter how much of a prodigy of Foundation Establishment State Level 7 he could be, he wouldn't be able to use a sword ray of that caliber. However, it wasn't the time to think about that. He spat some essence blood and summoned the flag back with it. It got stopped by the formation at first, but due to the burning essence blood, it only took an instant to bring it back. Then, the flag stopped Yi Mo's purple sword rays. The purple sword rays and the flag clashed together, creating a screeching sound that was absolutely unbearable. Yi Mo felt his cultivation essence rustle and he almost spat out some blood. But the flag's effects were far from done. Soon, the screeching sound started to summon something, as though from it came from hell. Yi Mo's head was dizzy. Yi Mo's soul was strong, so he immediately could tell what was going on. It was the main effect of the flag. The flag was trying to summon his soul into the formation. This Golden Core State Cultivator was underestimating his formation too much. Yi Mo threw out a few more formation flags and Zishu shone even brighter. Countless yellow light ray got activated from within the formation and they swept the flag again. This time, Yi Mo had used the Illusion Cloud Essence Binding Strike. With Yi Mo's current power, it could only bind the cultivation essence of a Golden Core State Peak Stage Cultivator for a brief moment, but that was enough. Shadowless had already made a move. Shadowless had cooperated with Yi Mo countless times and it was very proficient at such things. Yi Mo was sure that if he hadn't had the formation, it wouldn't have even been easy to stop the flag and much less bind the cultivation essence of this Golden Core State Peak Stage Cultivator. The Golden Core State Peak Stage Master suddenly noticed his cultivation essence had paused for a moment. He immediately realized things weren't good. He had been in countless battles and for the first time, he feared Yi Mo. It seemed like this cultivator had all sorts of undetectable means. The Golden Core State Cultivator wanted to run away and take back his flag, but then he felt his meridians ache. It was as though large amounts of essence blood were being instantly devoured. He was shook. He realized this was Yi Mo's lethal blow. If he stayed now, he would die for sure. The cultivator abandoned the flag, wrapped Shadowless with all of his cultivation essence and tried to dash away. This was the first time that Shadowless got covered with cultivation essence. If the cultivator had wanted to kick him out, he had other means to deal with it, but he also wasn't able to break free from the binding at that moment. The Golden Core State Cultivator wanted to run away as far as possible, but he forgot about Yi Mo's defense formation in his worry. Rumble. The Golden Core State Cultivator ran into the formation and the formation shook. The Golden Core State Cultivator forced himself to calm down. He had finally understood why Yi Mo had such confidence. His cultivation essence wasn't that far from his and he had all sorts of means. The Golden Core State Man knew that the most important step was to escape from this formation. He had never thought that a formation that he hadn't taken seriously would be a matter of life and death for him. This cultivator just took out his flying sword. He realized he wasn't able to attack the formation yet when he saw endless purple sword rays coming at him. This forced him to defend himself against the attacks, instead of hacking open the formation. However, his cultivation essence had been letting Shadowless slip away as he had used it on running. However, now that he had to use even more to defend himself against Yi Mo's attacks, Shadowless instantly broke free and started to devour his Dantian. The cultivator's flying sword was thrown in the air and it got devoured by Yi Mo's purple sword rays. In his eyes, there was endless regret. It was too late for him. The purple sword rays brought shower of blood and the next moment, the cultivator started to sag and dry out. Yi Mo took away the flag and the storage ring. He could now breathe at ease. He didn't look into the ring yet. There also was a masked woman outside watching. The masked woman had seen countless explosions and then, the shaking of the formation. She was just about to go and check when the formation suddenly disappeared. That Foundation Establishment State Level 8 cultivator appeared before her, but the Golden Core State Peak Stage Master was gone. The masked woman saw Yi Mo come out alone, putting away the formation flags. After a while, she asked hesitantly, "Did you kill him?" "You actually killed him." Yes, I killed him. Yi Mo then looked at the woman. He had never seen her, but she seemed to have seen him. Yi Mo asked casually, "Do you know me? Have you seen me before?" The woman nodded. "Yes, I've seen you once and I know you're from the Zheng Yuan sword sect. You killed Li Bai Sen outside the sect." Yi Mo was shook. He didn't know that there had been a masked woman watching on the side when killed Li Bai Sen. If she had wanted to kill him at the time, it would have been rather easy. The woman realized what Yi Mo was thinking and said calmly, "If I had wanted to kill you at the time, I would have. But I didn't." "Who are you? How do you know Li Bai Sen?" Yi Mo asked coldly. The woman's tone grew even calmer. "I know Li Bai Sen because I'm also from the Zheng Yuan sword sect. As a member of that sect, what do you think I would do when facing the killer of a core disciple?" Yi Mo suddenly laughed. "That's old news. Other than Li Bai Sen, I've also killed Ji Changsheng." Yi Mo waved his hand and Zishu appeared again. He said calmly, "If you want to fight, then hurry up." The masked woman was dazed, but she didn't have any intentions of fighting Yi Mo. After a long while, she murmured, "You could actually kill Li Changsheng?" "That's right. You just killed a golden core state peak stage cultivator. Did you know his surname is Li?" Yi Mo asked strangely. Theoretically, other than Li Yuyan and him, no one else knew that Ji Changsheng was actually Li Changsheng. The woman didn't reply, but she bowed to Yi Mo and said, "Thank you for killing Li Changsheng. I'm Fu Yishuang. You've probably heard of me." Fu Yishuang? Yi Mo had actually heard of this name. He studied her and asked hesitantly, "I've heard of this name, aren't you the Kai Gathering State Hall of Fame's #1? How did you become a golden core state cultivator?" Fu Yishuang smiled. "When I left the sect 2 years ago, I was already at Foundation Establishment State Level 7. I haven't been back for 2 years. When I reached Golden Core State Level 1, I wanted to follow Li Bai Sen and kill him, but I saw your battle with him." Yi Mo realized that this Fu Yishuang had also had an enmity with Li Bai Sen, so she didn't dare to go back to the sect. Strictly speaking, that woman was his martial sister. Chapter 944, Exchange. Chapter 944, Exchange. But Yi Mo didn't have any good impression of the sword sect at all, much less of this martial sister. When he was fighting with Li Bai Sen, he was on the lower hand, yet this woman didn't come out, which meant that his life was worth nothing to her. This woman clearly only cared about herself. Yi Mo immediately lost interest in continuing his talk with her. Seeing that Yi Mo wanted to leave, Fu Yishuang suddenly said, "Since you killed Li Changsheng, you probably obtained the illusion cloud 6 strikes, right?" "I know he had it. What are you trying to say?" Yi Mo's tone went cold. He didn't really care about the illusion cloud 6 strikes, but since this woman was asking about it, she might have some plans for it. Fu Yishuang saw Yi Mo go alert and immediately said, "You don't need to worry. The reason why I care about it so much is because it belongs to my Fu family." Hearing this, Yi Mo understood why she had wanted to kill Li Bai Sen. When he obtained those last 3 strikes of the illusion cloud 6 strikes, he knew that the illusion cloud didn't belong to the Li family. But it seemed the Fu family's illusion cloud wasn't complete either, so it probably didn't belong to them either. A few centuries ago, the Fu family got the illusion cloud, but we were slaughtered by the Li family. The only purpose the descendants of the Fu family have in mind is to get the illusion cloud back and to get revenge. Fu Yishuang's tone was calm as she explained. Yi Mo didn't care, so he said, "You haven't been back to your sect for 2 years, there's a lot of things you probably don't know. It's said that they were going to unite with Hidden Sword, and I also heard that the Ping Yaro Li family was annihilated by the sect. Perhaps finding the illusion cloud 6 strikes is all there's left for you to worry about. As for the revenge, the sect already took care of it for you." Huh. Fu Yishuang was stunned and reacted only after a long while, "So there are some things that don't need to be done, huh?" Yi Mo didn't speak as he just watched her. She soon reacted and looked fervently at Yi Mo. "This means that if you give the illusion cloud to me, I don't need to keep living for the Fu family blood oath." Yi Mo said plainly, "You're right, and I do have it indeed, but I'm not related to you, nor are we friends. Why should I give the illusion cloud to you?" Fu Yishuang was at a loss for words. She said hesitantly after a while, "But when you killed Li Bai Sen before, I didn't attack you during that time. The reason why you didn't attack was because you knew he didn't have the illusion cloud 6 strikes. Secondly, you felt threatened by me. If I can kill a false core state Li Bai Sen, I can heavily injure you too. You had just reached the golden core state, and you couldn't afford to sustain any injuries. Therefore, I don't owe you anything. Not to mention, when Li Bai Sen was about to kill me and I had no strength to retaliate, you probably wouldn't have come to help me if I hadn't taken care of it myself. You would have only used the chance to kill Li Bai Sen. You wouldn't care about my life or death, am I wrong? Fu Yishuang was speechless, and she didn't argue. That was the reality. Even if Yi Mo was about to get killed, she wouldn't come out and help. Seeing this, Yi Mo sneered, so if we're talking about owing anyone anything, it is you who owe me. Even if I didn't help you kill Li Bai Sen on purpose, would you have been able to beat a golden core state peak stage like him in the end? If I hadn't appeared, you would have gotten heavily injured even if you hadn't died. And actually, I must say that if I hadn't come, you would have died for sure. I won't explain why in detail, but in this perspective, you owe me your life. Fu Yishuang looked down. She didn't believe what Yi Mo said, but Yi Mo had helped her indeed. Yi Mo could tell she didn't believe him, but he didn't care. You owe me, yet you want me to give you the illusion cloud for free. Don't you think that's ridiculous? If you think you can rob the illusion cloud from me, then give it a try. Yi Mo could even kill someone at the golden core state peak stage. There was no way Fu Yishuang would fight him with her life right now. In that case, I'll be leaving. Yi Mo was about to release Zi Shu. Wait. Fu Yishuang stopped Yi Mo. If Yi Mo left, where would she go find the illusion cloud 6 strikes? Seeing Yi Mo stop, Fu Yishuang pulled down her face veil and said, I still have some looks. If you give the illusion cloud to me. Yi Mo was dazed at her words. He really didn't care about the illusion cloud 6 strikes as he had the 9 strikes which he had improved based on it. The reason why he was being so tough was because Fu Yishuang, having been in the herb valley for so long, she must have gotten some herbs. He wanted her to bring it up herself. The basic rule to business was that the other side would only give you the best offer if you didn't want to do the deal. But what Fu Yishuang was thinking was that the herbs she had might be precious, but they weren't nearly as precious as the illusion cloud 6 strikes. Besides, Yi Mo must have obtained a lot of herbs too. If she couldn't get back the illusion cloud 6 strikes, the blood oath would block her from ever reaching immortal ascension. If it wasn't that Yi Mo was too strong, she would really want to kill Yi Mo and take it. She couldn't beat Yi Mo, however, nor did she have any valuable items. She even owed him too. The only thing she had was her virgin body. Fu Yishuang's face was a little pale, perhaps due to always wearing a veil. But even so, Yi Mo had to admit she was beautiful. Her eyes were very big, making Yi Mo think of Yang Ru. However, she was prettier than her. Yi Mo believed even Qiu Shui might not be as pretty as Fu Yishuang. But even then, Yi Mo had no intentions for her. He sighed. He felt that it wasn't worth it for Fu Yishuang to go so far for the illusion cloud 6 strikes. Yi Mo suddenly lost interest in taking her fortunes. This woman was living for the hatred of the Fu family and this illusion cloud. That was too tiring of a way to live in Yi Mo's eyes. Yi Mo took out the illusion cloud 6 strikes jade slip and gave it to her. The illusion cloud is in here, but it's incomplete. It's missing 3 strikes. Even if you cultivate it, it can only be a sword technique for before the hollow spirit state. After that, it will be lacking. Then, he took out Zi Shu and dashed away. Although he pitied her, he didn't give the 9 strikes to her. If she had helped with killing Li Bai Sen, he would, but instead she had just watched. It was already very generous of him to be giving her the illusion cloud 6 strikes. Fu Yishuang was dazed. She didn't think that when she took off her veil, Yi Mo would give it to her for free. Why? Did he think she was ugly? Fu Yishuang was rather confident about her looks. She didn't understand why Yi Mo did what he did. She shook her head and stopped thinking about it. She checked the illusion cloud 6 strikes jade slip, and it was the real deal indeed. Fu Yishuang rejoiced. She had worked so hard and finally gotten the illusion cloud 6 strikes back for the Fu family. Chapter 945, Really Dare to Leave. Chapter 945, Really Dare to Leave. Yi Mo found a quiet place and set up a formation to check his loot. The ring was mostly filled with herbs, so he organized them and put into a separate ring. The slightly valuable herbs were sent to the Golden Page world. Large amounts of spirit stones, pills, and other magic spirit artifacts were stored together in piles. Other than the crocodile scissors and the flag, Yi Mo was ready to sell the rest. As for ores, the most precious one was the vibrant sun true metal and a top-grade pilo of star sand. The Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator had 400,000 top-grade spirit stones, but what shocked Yi Mo the most was that he had all sorts of spirit herbs that altogether counted more than his. However, he simply had less valuable ones. Yi Mo wouldn't have had so many precious spirit herbs if he hadn't gone to that mist valley. When he saw more than 170 spirit crystals, Yi Mo immediately understood why this guy was so rich. He must have robbed a lot of the cultivators in the spirit marrow pond. When he opened more storage rings inside the Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator's ring, he found 1.5 million top-grade spirit stones, 2.6 million middle-grade spirit stones and only less than 3 million low-grade spirit stones. Yi Mo was sure that this guy had been the wealthiest man amongst the Golden Core State cultivators. He put these things away and went out looking for more herbs casually. He knew that the place was about to close. There were still a few days left, so Yi Mo made a few level 2 formation discs, including a defense formation and 4 attack formation. Yi Mo wanted to make higher level ones, but his resources were limited. Moreover, it was much harder to make formation discs than building the formation. He knew he wasn't really in danger in there, but he would be when he got out. All of those cultivators who had paid him a toll and that bitter-faced cultivator wanted to kill him. He wasn't concerned about that guy on his own, but feared what could happen if he had backup. A few thousand kilometers away from Yi Mo, a bitter-faced cultivator had a bleak expression. Other than collecting herbs, he had a very important mission, and that was to kill Yi Mo and take all of his belongings to Elder Feng of the Immortal Treasure Tower. Elder Feng believed that Yi Mo had to have some secret to have been able to become number 1 in the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame with such power. He had thought it was going to be a simple task, as he had planted large amounts of spirit sense marks on Yi Mo. However, after going in, he hadn't been able to Yi Mo and he had even lost his minion He Chong. This easy task remained unfinished and it made him very annoyed. He knew that if he didn't complete his mission, his value would greatly decrease in the eyes of Elder Feng. His time was almost up. Indeed, time was up. White lights flashed over the cultivators as they were teleported out. As soon as Yi Mo came out, he saw a large crowd of people squeezing outside the valley. There were even more stalls now and each with a sign for collecting spirit herbs and materials. Yi Mo didn't dare to use 9 transformations. He was more scared of the black and the white masters he had avoided. They were hollow spirit state cultivators. Yi Mo was certainly not staying there after seeing how many people there were. But as soon as he tried to run, he was surrounded by a group of very fervent merchants. "I'm the worker at the All-Spirit Hall. I'm from the Herb Cauldron sect. We will pay a high price for your herbs." After Yi Mo finally squeezed out, a beautiful woman appeared before him. "Yi Mo, I knew those people couldn't do anything to you. Indeed, you didn't disappoint me." Yi Mo looked at Liu Yutang and the 3 martial sisters behind her and he secretly stayed alert. He said calmly, "I'm just making a profit from my hard work. If it hadn't been for me, you guys would have already died in that mist. But I'm sure you don't believe me." Yi Mo had really helped these people. However, all of these guys wanted to kill him and rob his belongings. If Yi Mo has known it was going to be like that from the start, he would have rather not make them pay the toll price. Liu Yutang smiled, but she didn't answer Yi Mo. Clearly, she thought that even if Yi Mo hadn't repaired the formation, they could have still come out. Yi Mo said expressionlessly, "I have no spirit herbs. If you want to attack me, then hurry up or I'm going to leave." That Chichi girl suddenly said, "Martial brother Yi, I believe you." Chichi. Yu-Chin Mushin suddenly looked shockingly at Chichi. They knew that she had the ability to tell if someone was lying or not. She could feel that Yi Mo was actually telling the truth. Chichi continued, "Martial brother Yi, you've mistaken my martial sister. No one is allowed to fight after the herb valley opens. They have to wait until going outside. My martial sister just wants to invite you to our sect. Although we won't do anything to you, other people might. Yimo's spirit sense had already seen Ji Jiyuan, who was staring coldly at him. Although he hadn't come for him yet. If Yimo left, Ji Jiyuan would chase him for sure. Yimo scanned his spirit sense out again and found that bitter-faced cultivator. He wasn't looking at him at that moment, but Yimo was sure that this guy was going to attack him. He had sensed the guy scan him with spirit sense more than once. Other than him, another cultivator was watching him. It was that Golden Core State Level 8 cultivator from the Godsword sect. Unexpectedly, while other people were just watching Yimo, the Dual Heart sect's Zhiqiushirei came up to Yimo and saluted him with his fists. Brother Yi, hello, I knew I would be able to see you soon. If you have time, you must visit the Dual Heart Valley. I highly respect Brother Yi, and I'm also grateful to you for saving my life. You don't harbor enmity towards me. Yimo looked strangely at Zhiqiushirei. He had taken half of his herbs. Zhiqiushirei laughed. I greatly admire Brother Yi's talent. Those mere herbs are nothing. Moreover, you've saved my life. Yimo was sure that this guy was being genuine, so he nodded. Okay, if I have time, I will go to the Dual Heart Valley for sure. Seeing this, Liu Yutang approached him again and smiled. Brother Yi, you're indeed quite significant. Zhiqiushirei is a prideful person. You took his herbs, but he still thinks so highly of you. Seeing that Yimo was getting impatient, Liu Yutang smiled. Martial Brother Yi, our sect is genuinely inviting you over. If you leave now, that Ji Jiyuan won't let you go. But he doesn't dare to come to our sect. Even if you offend the Ghost Immortal sect, we won't fear them. Yimo was considering whether he should go with them. After all, Ji Jiyuan was from a 5-star sect. He wasn't going to be the only one hunting him down. However, Liu Yuetang's words clearly implied that they were doing him a favor. They were willing to go against the Ghost Immortal sect for him. If he went, he had to admit this as this favor. Qin Muxin heard this and sighed. She knew Yimo rather well. Her big martial sister hadn't even done anything for Yimo, yet she was already planning to make him pay back. Yimo could even reject her master, there was no way he would succumb to her. Indeed, Yimo sneered. Thank you, big martial sister, for your goodwill, but I don't need to be protected by your bunch. Goodbye. Then, Yimo darted into the sky with Zishu. Yimo didn't mean to look down on the women from her sect, but Liu Yuetang's intentions were too obvious. Liu Yutang saw this and murmured, he really dares to leave. Chapter 946, Hunting Yimo. Chapter 946, Hunting Yimo her? Guang Wei suddenly screamed before pulling Liu Yuetang's hand and saying desperately, Big martial sister, go help him. Ji Jiyuan also left, and it's not just him. Those people will be hunting him for sure. Qin Muxin also looked expectantly at Liu Yutang. Liu Yutang sighed, Master and company are already here, let's go see them. Guang Wei and the girls turned around and saw that their master and the elders from the sect had come, and they immediately knew it wouldn't be plausible to go help Yimo. As soon as Yimo flew away, he could feel Ji Jiyuan follow him. Other than him, there were 2 more fellows with him that Ji Jiyuan had probably called to help. Ji Jiyuan was at the Golden Core State peak stage, and the other 2 were both Golden Core State tertiary stage cultivators. Even though Yimo had formation discs, he couldn't kill 3 Golden Core State tertiary attackers. His formation discs were only ordinary level 2 discs in the first place. If he had a level 4 formation disc, Yimo could easily kill all 3. Even if he had just a level 3 disc, he would be able to kill Ji Jiyuan. But the most important thing was the reality that Yimo didn't have time to set up a level 3 formation and that there were 3 of them. Feeling that Ji Jiyuan was getting closer and closer, Yimo knew he had to make up his mind. Yimo suddenly had a burst in speed. As Ji Jiyuan saw this, he sneered. No matter how fast Yimo was, there was no way a mere Golden Core State level 1 could get away from him. Yimo sped up wanting to find a place to hide first. When Ji Jiyuan caught up, he would ambush them. As long as he could take out the 2 other guys, He was confident he could deal with Ji Jiyuan with his formation discs. But Yi Mo didn't expect that just when he accelerated, a powerful cultivation essence would appear and quickly fly close to him. Yi Mo's heart sunk. He knew there was no point in continuing to run, so he stopped. A man in his 50s appeared before Yi Mo. This man was at the Golden Core State peak stage and about to form his soul. He was no weaker than Ji Jiyuan and perhaps even a little stronger. "You're that pill concoction Hall of Fame #1, Yi Mo?" The man didn't seem to have the intention to attack Yi Mo. Yi Mo nodded, while Ji Jiyuan and his two companions arrived as well. But when they saw there was another person, they didn't speak and just subtly surrounded Yi Mo and the man. In a brief moment, Ji Jiyuan seemed to have remembered who this man was. His face changed immediately, and he saluted with his fists. "So it's Elder Yang of the Immortal Treasure Tower. Why might be worth your time to come here, Elder Yang?" Yi Mo heard this and thought, could this be Yang Zheng's support in the Immortal Treasure Tower? Thinking about this, he saluted with his fists. "Qianbei, do you perhaps know Yang Zheng?" He had to know the relationship involved. The man smiled. "Yes, I am Yang Jun. I've heard Zheng talk about you, but I didn't expect you to be at the Golden Core State primary stage already. Zheng has good eyes. We're both Golden Core State cultivators, so there's no need to call me Qianbei. Just call me Elder Yang." Yi Mo rejoiced. Since this guy was related to Yang Zheng, he owed him. Yi Mo had received one chance for Kong Yi to concoct pills for him, and he gave it to Yang Zheng. Yang Zheng would definitely have given it to Yang Jun if that was the case, then Yang Jun owed him a favor. "Yes, thank you, Elder Yang," Yi Mo saluted with his fists. With Yang Jun's help, he was confident about killing the two Golden Core State Level 7 fellows first and then come help Yang Jun kill Ji Jiyuan. Ji Jiyuan's face, meanwhile, looked bad. Clearly, Yang Jun was there to help Yi Mo. Yang Jun then saluted with his fists to Ji Jiyuan. "Dao friend Ji, although I don't know what conflict you have with Yi Mo, please let it go on my account. Ha ha ha." Ji Jiyuan laughed as his face went cold. "Elder Yang, this is the Ghost Immortal sect's matter. I represent the Ghost Immortal sect right now. Can you represent the Immortal Treasure Tower to fight with me?" Hearing this, Yang Jun's face looked bad. He could barely keep his status in the Immortal Treasure Tower. How could he represent them? Yang Jun knew it would be suicide to fight the Ghost Immortal sect with his Golden Core State peak stage power. But Yi Mo had given him something so valuable, he couldn't not protect him at all. He thought about it for a while, and he realized that he couldn't intervene today. From Ji Jiyuan's killing intent he could tell that even if Yi Mo apologized, Ji Jiyuan wouldn't let him go. Moreover, he knew from Yang Zheng that Yi Mo wasn't the type to apologize to Ji Jiyuan in the first place. In that instant, Yang Jun regretted coming. Seeing that Yang Jun's expression had turned sour, Yi Mo knew what he was thinking and spoke up. "Elder Yang, this has nothing to do with you. I don't think this Ji Jiyuan can do anything to me." Yang Jun said, "I only represent myself, but I stopped Yi Mo just now and let you guys catch up to him. Even if I don't help him, I can't stop him for you guys either, now can I?" Unexpectedly, Ji Jiyuan smiled and replied, "Thank you, Elder Yang. I won't let Elder Yang be such a person. I'll give him 30 seconds to run. I think you only stalled him for about 10 seconds, right?" Indeed, Yang Jun sighed in relief. He had been afraid that Ji Jiyuan wouldn't give him any face at all. He knew that 30 seconds was nothing, but at it still gave him some face. "Yi Mo, I'm very embarrassed. This is all I can do to help you." "I'm sorry." Yang Jun turned around. Ji Jiyuan had a sneer on his face but didn't talk. Yi Mo knew why Ji Jiyuan was sneering. It was because he had marked him with a spirit sense mark as soon as he got there. Yi Mo didn't feel bad about Yang Jun, because he really didn't have the power to take on the Ghost Immortal sect. It was already quite nice that he had come out to help. He said to Yang Jun, "Thank you, Elder Yang, goodbye." Then he sped off on his sword. After Yi Mo left, Yang Jun only waited for 20 seconds before he left without saying anything to Ji Jiyuan. Then, Ji Jiyuan left immediately too. Yi Mo simply used 10 seconds to run and another 10 to set up a formation base. He wanted to make it better, but he already felt Ji Jiyuan chasing over. Yi Mo was furious. This guy was full of lies. It hadn't even been 25 seconds yet. But Yimo had no choice but face the situation at hand. He didn't stay in the unfinished formation base. He went a few hundred meters back and cut off the spirit sense mark before hiding himself. As soon as Yimo hid himself, Ji Jiyuan arrived. He didn't even look at where Yimo was and just shot his flying sword over. At the same time, Yimo moved too. Not towards Ji Jiyuan, but for the two golden core state level 7 cultivators behind him. Chapter 947, Eerie Sword Shadow. Chapter 947, Eerie Sword Shadow. The reason why Yimo didn't make a sneak attack on Ji Jiyuan was because he knew that with Ji Jiyuan's golden core state peak stage power, he would at most be able to only injure him. And even that was only a possibility. But it was different if he attacked the other two. Ji Jiyuan was attacking towards the spirit sense mark location, so he wouldn't be able to save the two golden core state level 7 cultivators in that instant. Secondly, those two were at most on par with Yimo in terms of cultivation essence. So Yimo should be able to successfully ambush them with a 90% certainty. Hence Yimo immediately acted. As his sword produced purple sword rays, Ji Jiyuan was stunned. He didn't think that Yimo would be able to find his spirit sense mark and use it to counterattack them. And he didn't have time to help. He didn't expect that Yimo would be so powerful either, nor did he expect him to be capable of hiding there without him noticing at all. How powerful was his stealth technique? He didn't think a mere golden core state level 1 would be able to hide from his spirit sense. Splurge countless purple sword rays enveloped the two golden core state level 7 men from behind. Zishu sliced one golden core state cultivator in half through the waist, while the other one had purple sword rays pierce through his entire body. Just one strike and one person had died, while the other was heavily injured. As Ji Jiyuan saw the bloody scene, his eyes were about to bulge in fury. He roared, and his flying sword instantaneously flew towards Yimo. Yimo wasn't going to fight Ji Jiyuan head-on right now. He immediately retreated inside his formation and laid down a few formation discs. Ji Jiyuan saw Yimo retreat and followed. He glanced at the level 2 formation discs Yimo threw out, and his fury disappeared. He regained his composure and spoke coldly, "You sure have got balls. You think you can stop me with a few level 2 formation discs? Pity I have to tell you, I was just going to kill you originally, but now you've truly angered me. I will kill every man in your Yi family, and as for the women, I will bring them to Broken Leaf City and comfort them nicely." Then, he looked at Yimo and gnarled, "As for you, I don't want to kill you anymore. I happen to know a way of burning living souls. I will burn you for 100 years before killing you." Yimo's eyes went cold, and his killing intent rose drastically. He made up his mind that even if he had to die, he would kill Ji Jiyuan today. The more Yimo's killing intent burned, the calmer he grew. He threw out a few more formation flags and spoke coldly, "Pity I have to tell you that you won't have that chance. I swear that if the Ghost Immortal sect dares to send more people after me, I will annihilate the sect." Ji Jiyuan actually got goosebumps from Yimo's cold threat. He knew that Yimo would be out to kill him already, but Yimo's words still made him want to kill Yimo faster. He knew that Yimo's cultivation was only at golden core state level 1, but he wasn't any weaker than a golden core state level 7 fighter. Ji Jiyuan waved his hand, and the flying sword that had been circulating above his head returned to his hands. Immediately, his body turned cold. Yimo stared at the flying sword and felt there was something wrong with it. He couldn't tell what grade it was. It seemed only 30 centimeters long at first, but sometimes it was more. When he stopped looking at it for a moment, he could even sense that it was as if Ji Jiyuan wasn't holding a flying sword but an invisible killing intent. This flying sword was also just too thin. It was so thin that it was almost invisible. But with Yimo's spirit sense, he could confirm that the flying sword really existed. Yet when he tried to investigate it more carefully with his spirit sense, he couldn't see it clearly anymore. There was a bone-chilling eeriness about it. The kai that Ji Jiyuan and his flying sword emitted made Yimo become very careful. He knew that Ji Jiyuan couldn't be cultivating an ordinary cultivation method. Ji Jiyuan didn't move, but Yimo felt that the air around him seemed to have gotten darker and heavier. It began to have a rotten feeling, as though it came straight from hell. What cultivation method was this? The Ghost Immortal sect cultivation methods indeed had some ghost elements to them. Yimo thought for a moment before slashing out with Zishu, not wanting to wait anymore. Illusion Cloud Division Strike. Countless sword rays were instantaneously activated, and in that instant, in a 10-meter radius, Yimo's purple sword rays swept over every inch. Ji Jiyuan was enveloped inside the sword rays, and that bleak Kai seemed to get melted away by the purple sword rays. After sending out the attack, Yimo didn't even bother checking Ji Jiyuan's situation, as he knew that it would be impossible to kill Ji Jiyuan with only this, so he took out tens of other formation flags and dumped them all around him. He had set up the formation base of a level 3 formation by then. He just needed to finish it, and he had to buy as much time as he could for that. Pack. Yimo's purple sword rays were already getting shattered and dissipated in the air. What sword technique is this? Right after he had such a thought, Yimo suddenly felt a bleak killing intent that almost made him suffocate. Yimo was shook. It seemed it was suicidal of him to try to lay a formation after just sending out one attack. Yimo immediately activated 4 defensive formation discs and 2 attacking formation discs of his. Thud. Yimo was still forced to take a few steps back, and those Anix formation discs were instantly broken. Their only use had been saving Yimo's life. If not for them, that strike would have killed him already. Yimo didn't keep throwing out formation flags. He knew that if he couldn't build the level 3 formation today, he would lose for sure, yet he just didn't have the time to finish it. Ji Jiyuan's sword technique was too strong. It was especially powerful because of how Yimo couldn't grasp the trajectory of the strike. Ji Jiyuan was much stronger than the Golden Core State peak stage Yimo had killed in the Herb Valley. But suddenly, something even more shocking happened. He couldn't sense where Ji Jiyuan was anymore. Yimo felt cold sweat stream down his back as he spread his spirit sense out. However, Ji Jiyuan wasn't visible in his spirit sense either. This fellow was too strong. When he fought with him in the wooden house, he wasn't using his real power at all. Suddenly, Yimo felt a light breath and woke up, because he could sense a cold killing intent pierce his soul. Yimo shivered. He had gotten confused in the middle of a battle. This Ji Jiyuan was too powerful. He had somehow sent Yimo into a daze in the middle of their battle. The killing intent was imminent, so without any time to think, Yimo flew tens of meters backwards and almost ended up outside of his formation base. Yimo felt some pain below his ribs as a deep gash had appeared. So powerful. Yimo ate a few pills and closed his eyes. If his sixth sense hadn't sensed the killing intent, he would have been cut in half through the waist already. The only thing he could use right now was the powerful sixth sense he had from cultivating the 3-birth chant. Another soundless sword shadow passed by Yimo's chest. Even though Yimo was taking pills, his wounds weren't healing and instead started seeping some dark energy. Yimo grew calmer and calmer. It felt as if his formation was seeped with countless sword shadows, but when he closed his eyes, everything became clear. Yimo ignored his wounds and passed through the countless sword shadows. At the start, he was still getting cut, but after a while, he sustained less and less injuries. He could even sense Ji Jiyuan's position. Yimo was very calm. He had found a way to avoid the sword shadows, but now he still needed another method to kill Ji Jiyuan. Yimo stopped just trying to dodge the sword shadows, and he started to use the time in between strikes to set up his formation flags. Ji Jiyuan was surprised that Yimo could dodge for so long while only sustaining a few injuries. Chapter 948, Manipulating Swords with Will. Chapter 948, Manipulating Swords with Will. Yimo threw out the last 3 flags and some extreme-grade spirit stones before yelling, "Seal." Instantly, the defense formation was set up and countless white rays flashed in front of their eyes. The place Yimo and Ji Jiyuan battled was no longer in open air. He had set the formation there, so now the place belonged to him. Yimo scanned with his spirit sense and saw Ji Jiyuan was hiding amongst his sword shadows. He looked dazedly at Yimo's formation and murmured after a long while, "A level 3 peak formation?" Yimo's spirit sense moved and the countless sword shadows got swept away by the white light from Yimo's formation. Yimo let out a long breath. He had been passively getting hit before until he finished setting up his formation. This formation was his, and each formation flag had his spirit sense mark. Keep dreaming about using shadowless swords in this land. What Yi Mo didn't expect was that the formation he had set up was at almost peak stage since he had used extreme grade spirit stones even though it was supposed to be level 3 primary stage. He took 2 more pills. Yi Mo still wasn't able to heal the wounds from before. This guy was too strong. He had seen quite a few golden core state peak stage cultivators, but in all honesty, he had never seen someone stronger than Ji Jiyuan. The guy definitely had a place in the golden core state hall of fame. You're a formation master indeed. Ji Jiyuan appeared again. His thin sword still hovered above him. Yi Mo released Zi Shu that brought about countless purple sword rays, yet they were different from before. These purple sword rays gathered around Yi Mo. Eventually, more and more appeared, forming a sea of purple. Yi Mo also started sweating. He knew that his purple sword rays wouldn't be able to damage Ji Jiyuan now. However, since he had his formation set up, he would keep gathering it and attack Ji Jiyuan all at once. Then, with the help of the formation and shadowless, he didn't think this Ji Jiyuan could still survive. Wait. Unexpectedly, Ji Jiyuan suddenly told Yi Mo to stop. Your formation is good, but I'm sure you won't be able to do anything to me in the end. If you open the formation, I will leave and we can end the conflict here. I'll even ignore the fact that you killed 2 of our sect's golden core state members. Even if I don't run away in the end, the Ghost Immortal sect will know you have done it and you will never be able to escape from us. Go die. Yi Mo sneered and shot thousands of purple sword rays at Ji Jiyuan. At the same time, he activated the formation and sent out shadowless. Even if a 6, 7, 8 or even 9-star sect dared to threaten him, he would show no mercy, much less for a mere 5-star sect. Ji Jiyuan's expression changed. He hadn't thought Yi Mo didn't fear the Ghost Immortal sect at all, but he couldn't think that much for now. The thin sword above him also spewed out countless silver light rays. However, it was Yi Mo's formation and he was in control of every corner. Ji Jiyuan's sword shadows could no longer injure Yi Mo. The instant he activated them, Yi Mo's formation shot white barriers that stopped the sword shadows. Yi Mo breathed easy. He had really felt threatened by Ji Jiyuan's sword technique. It was invisible, but still everywhere and dangerously powerful. Ji Jiyuan's sword shadows suddenly changed. They went from barely visible to pressuring and fast like lightning. It shook the formation so much that it seemed like it was about to explode at any time. Yi Mo was shook. He could tell that this sword technique was far from what Ji Jiyuan had showed him before. If he hadn't used extreme-grade spirit stones, the formation might have been broken already. Thinking about it, Yi Mo quickly swept down more purple sword rays, grabbed Zi Shu and hacked down. He couldn't allow Ji Jiyuan to keep using cultivation essence to attack his formation. Thud, thud. Yi Mo's purple sword rays clashed onto a pot lid-like shield that Ji Jiyuan had set up. Ji Jiyuan was spitting out mouthfuls of blood, but the sword ray eventually stopped. The purple sword rays were strong, but they didn't seem to have much effect against the pot lid shield. Yi Mo didn't dare to hesitate. He had already activated the illusion cloud exert will sword. In the past, he had activated countless sword rays with this move and controlled them with his will. However, this time, Yi Mo didn't control any of the sword rays. He just closed his eyes and hacked. He hacked the place he felt was the best. If someone else had seen this, they wouldn't have been able to understand, as Yi Mo was hitting the center of the shield, which was also the strongest part of the shield. However, the only difference was that Yi Mo's sword was slanted. Ji Jiyuan didn't understand either why Yi Mo was attacking like this, so he sneered. Yi Mo was either competing on cultivation essence with him or he had great faith in his kitchen knife. A mere golden core state level 1 cultivator dared to compete on cultivation essence with him when he was using a middle-grade spirit artifact. This was underestimating him too much. The next moment, Zi Shu hacked the shield. Crack. The sound pierced Ji Jiyuan's eardrums. How could hear such noise? Yi Mo's Zi Shu had cut his shield like tofu and then pierced his chest. It had instantly found the weakest point in his spirit artifact and, it had managed to break it by destroying its internal structure. Ji Jiyuan looked at his broken spirit artifact in disbelief. How was this possible? Any magic artifact had a weakest part. The better the magic artifact, the smaller the Achilles tendon. But for cultivators, that didn't matter because only they could tell the weakest part through spirit control. Other people wouldn't be able to know. Even if they did know, if the amount of cultivation essence they attacked the magic artifact with couldn't resonate with the magic artifact's internal structure, it wouldn't be able to hurt the magic artifact either. However, Yi Mo had found its weak spot, had managed to grasp the spirit artifact's structure and broke it in half. Yi Mo used this opportunity to shoot the illusion cloud whirlpool strike and release Shadowless. The instant Ji Jiyuan's essence blood was being devoured by Shadowless, he saw Yi Mo's purple sword again. He was scared to the bone. Splurge a blood mist erupted and Ji Jiyuan got surrounded by Yi Mo's illusion cloud whirlpool strike. After Shadowless devoured Ji Jiyuan's golden core, Yi Mo didn't let Shadowless keep devouring Ji Jiyuan's meridians. He summoned Shadowless back and put away his formation flags. He also placed the thin sword into his golden page world. Yi Mo rejoiced, partly because he had defeated Ji Jiyuan, but mostly because he had found the feeling of controlling sword with will. Ji Jiyuan looked at Yi Mo with soulless eyes, murmuring something. Yi Mo then sneered to Ji Jiyuan, "How does your flying sword's damage heal? Tell me and I'll give you a quick death. Or else, just like you said, I will burn your soul." Ji Jiyuan shivered. His eyes suddenly turned bleak again. "Yi, you're finished. Even if you run through the entire North Far State, you won't escape the rage of the Ghost Immortal sect." Yi Mo slapped him in the face. "Are you going to tell me or not?" "Keep dreaming." Ji Jiyuan sneered. He believed that even if Yi Mo killed him, he couldn't stop him from using his secret technique to escape in a soul state. He could still become a ghost cultivator. Time was very important for Yi Mo. He took out a 5-color flag and said, "Since you won't tell me, you don't need to anymore." A 5-color soul-devouring flag. Ji Jiyuan's face changed drastically. Chapter 949, River State has changed. Chapter 949, River State has changed. Ji Jiyuan knew that no matter how strong his secret technique was, there was no way he could escape from the 5-colored soul-devouring flag. However, just when he was about to beg for mercy, the 5-colored flag had already swept down. After the 5 colors faded away, Ji Jiyuan no longer showed any signs of life. His soul had been taken away by the flag. Yi Mo admired how powerful the flag was. Yet, Yi Mo really didn't like that bleak, ghastly flag, but it was the best means for people like Ji Jiyuan. The reason Yi Mo didn't dare to waste time talking to Ji Jiyuan was because he knew he was already at a very dangerous position. He needed to go back immediately, return to River State and take everyone away. After taking Ji Jiyuan's ring, he found that one of the 2 golden core state cultivators was gone. It was the one he had heavily injured. In his desperation, Yi Mo couldn't care about anything anymore. He burned the 2 bodies and left the place as fast as he could on Zishu. On the way, Yi Mo forcefully suppressed his wounds with cultivation essence and didn't dare to linger at all. He didn't have time for recovery. He had to get back to River State as quickly as possible. If he had been by himself, he could have found a safe place to go into the Golden Page world and slowly recover, but it was too easy for the Ghost Immortal sect to find out where his base was. Hence, he had to get to River State before the Ghost Immortal sect put up a wanted order. About half an hour after Yi Mo left, 2 cultivators appeared where he had fought with Ji Jiyuan. Their faces were very bleak. One had a short figure, but the other one was very tall. If Yi Mo knew, he would have rejoiced to have left early because both of these cultivators were at nascent soul state, one was even at nascent soul state tertiary stage. "It's here. Jiyuan was killed here and his soul was taken away," the tall nascent soul state cultivator said with a calm tone, but the fury was spurring out of his eyes. The short nascent soul state cultivator laughed like a crow. "Such an evil guy. He has a magic artifact for taking alive souls. How dare he take souls from the Ghost Immortal sect? This person shouldn't be very far. Let me find his Kai then." The short nascent soul state cultivator took out a disc-like magic artifact. A while later, his frown had grown deeper and deeper. "What's wrong? the tall cultivator asked. The short cultivator shook his head and said, "There's marks of a formation here. This person used a formation to kill Ji Jiyuan and the others. Clearly, he's not at nascent soul state. But how can a mere golden core state cultivator's stealth cultivation method be this powerful? I can't find any useful information." After Yi Mo removed all of the evidence, he focused on running. He didn't even look at Ji Jiyuan's storage ring and just threw it into the golden page world. Yi Mo was going to fly to Broken Leaf City first and take the teleportation formation, yet Yi Mo didn't dare to go there first. He flew for a few days and arrived to Luoshan City. Then, Yi Mo took the teleportation formation from there to Sharp City. Although Yi Mo was many times faster than when he had first gone there, he still arrived at River State City 7 days later. If he hadn't wasted time getting out of the Herb Valley, he would have arrived at River State in less than 2 days. However, Yi Mo knew that if he went back to the Broken Leaf City, he might never be able to leave. Yi Mo changed his face and walked into the city, mixing with the crowd. The city was much less populated than before. Yi Mo scanned his spirit sense to China Pharmaceuticals immediately. When he saw that China Pharmaceuticals was in ruins, his limbs went cold. He could feel his body trembling. The bleak Kai from his wounds broke free of his cultivation essence and made him shiver. The thing he worried for the most had happened. China Pharmaceuticals had been annihilated. What happened to Yi Ling, Song Yangzhu and the others? Who had done this? The Ghost Immortal Sect? The All-Pill Tower? But the high powers at River State for them were at nascent soul state. How could have they fought China Pharmaceuticals with Li Yuqian there? Yi Mo scanned the scene. He could tell there had been a big battle there. The place was surrounded with a formation. If someone went in there, it would activate the formation. "Friend, are you okay?" Yi Mo was wiping his sweat and someone asked. Yi Mo hadn't expected there to be such kind-hearted people in the cultivation realm. He shook his head and said, "I'm fine. It's just some old wounds." Yi Mo was aware that his face was probably looking very pale at the moment. It would show it, despite him wearing 9 transformations. It was a Kai-gathering state cultivator who was asking and he was about to leave. But Yi Mo stopped him and asked, "Dao friend, I heard China Pharmaceuticals' pills are very good, so I came here just for them. How come I don't see China Pharmaceuticals?" The cultivator looked around worriedly and then pulled Yi Mo to the side. "Friend, you must not be from here. You must not mention China Pharmaceuticals." "Why?" Yi Mo was shaking. His hands were bleeding from his clench, but he still asked. "I heard China Pharmaceuticals offended the All-Pill Sect. They were relying on the Immortal Treasure Tower for support, but for some reason, 2 months ago, they suddenly came to look for trouble with China Pharmaceuticals as well. At this time, the branch owner of the All-Pill Tower, Lu Jiuqing, reached nascent soul state. So he joined forces with the Immortal Treasure Tower to annihilate China Pharmaceuticals. Then what happened?" Yi Mo's voice was shaky. The cultivator said quietly, "However, China Pharmaceuticals had a nascent soul state cultivator and a golden core state cultivator that had somehow forcefully reached golden core state peak stage. There was a large battle and quite some people from the Immortal Treasure Tower and the All-Pill Tower died." Yi Mo asked desperately, "Did the people from China Pharmaceuticals get away?" The cultivator shook his head. "That I don't know, but China Pharmaceuticals lost a few people too." Suddenly, the cultivator realized that the person he was talking to was gone. He must have met some master. That guy was so worried about China Pharmaceuticals. Perhaps he belonged there too. Thinking about this, the cultivator quickly left. The first thing Yi Mo did after leaving was getting to the teleportation formation he had set up. When he went into the valley, he saw that his stealth formation was perfectly running and so was the teleportation formation. Had they not closed it? Yi Mo charged into the teleportation formation. When he saw the activated teleportation formation, he finally breathed a little easier. It seemed they eventually had used it. Yi Mo wasn't too worried now. The teleportation distance was more than 100,000 kilometers. Even a hollow spirit state cultivator wouldn't be able to scan that far with spirit sense. There was a jade card on the teleportation formation. Yimo recognized it to be Song Yangzhu's handwriting. Husband, I'm fine. Yi Ling and sister Zhen were injured. So was master, but don't worry. Su Yu and Sheng Yizhong are fine. However, Sun Jizai and a few of China Pharmaceuticals people weren't able to come together. If it hadn't been for your teleportation formation, none of us would have been able to get away. We took all of your pills, don't worry. Master said we can't stay here for long. We went to Peihai City. Hurry up and come meet up with us. Yangzhu. Yimo breathed easy. They had been injured, but it was fine as long as they were alive. It had been such a wise decision for him to leave behind this teleportation formation. Peihai City was a big city next to the Heartless Sea. Due to this, there were lots of cultivation resources. Many solo cultivators and sect members would go there for training and resources. However, there were a lot of dangers there too. Chapter 950, A Step of Progress. Chapter 950, A Step of Progress. Although Yimo wanted to meet up with Song Yangzhu and company immediately, he didn't follow his impulses. His wounds weren't healed yet. He had to heal up first. Peihai City was out of North Far State. It was tens of millions of kilometers away from River State City. If he just went there without a plan, he wouldn't be able to get there fast, and he might even get hunted by the Ghost Immortal sect. He knew he had to calm down. Although China Pharmaceuticals' destruction had nothing to do with the Ghost Immortal sect, that was because they weren't there yet. If they had been the ones to come, Li Yuqian and the others wouldn't have been able to get away even if they had the teleportation formation. As for the Immortal Treasure Tower, he hadn't offended them. Instead, he had helped them out greatly. He really didn't understand why they were creating enmity with him. Still, he was sure that although the All-Pill Tower and Immortal Treasure Tower had attacked him, it mustn't have been the higher-ups' decision. People in the lower ranks were probably responsible. The most they could send were nascent soul state cultivators. That explained why it had been so long already and they still hadn't found the location of the flying sword. But the Ghost Immortal sect was different. They were a 5-star sect and would be able to find the location through the rubbles of the teleportation formation. They didn't know Chinese, but who knew if they wouldn't find someone who knew Chinese? There were so many people from the small world coming in here, it really wasn't hard to find someone who knew Chinese. Thinking about this, Yimo was scared. He had to remind Song Yangzhu about this later. Luckily he had arrived first. If the Ghost Immortal sect had come first, their whereabouts would have been exposed. Yimo took out a map of North Far State and found Peihai City on it. This was the most southern place of North Far State. Yimo then looked up the westernmost city of North Far State, Xiashan City too. It was also near the Heartless Sea, and it was also a big city. Yimo took out a jade card, copied Song Yangzhu's words, and wrote her message anew, but he changed the destination to Xiashan City. Then he placed the card in the same spot he'd found Yangzhu's jade card and set up a hidden surveillance formation. But after doing all that, Yimo realized his plan wasn't good. If they found the teleportation formation, it would mean that they had a formation master with them. Setting this up would still give a master like that some clues. Thinking about this, Yimo took out a camera. He had received it from Huang Mai when he was hunting the Northern Sand King. Yimo put the camera in a corner, placed a surveillance formation next to the camera, and finally left the place. Yimo was sure that no matter how good his opponents were, they wouldn't know about cameras. Nor would they search the camera with spirit sense. Yimo left and didn't go very far. He found a valley and went into the earth before then entering the Golden Page world. He needed to recover. That was the most important thing. Then, he would have to go find secret lands in the All-Herb mountain ranges, and then he would go to Peihai City. Yimo had been so focused on running before that only now that he actually looked at his wounds carefully did he realize how scary they were. Yimo had been suppressing the wounds with his cultivation essence at first, but the bleak Kai had already started invading his meridians. He didn't even know about it. If he had kept going to Peihai City without stopping to recover, that bleak Kai might have completely changed his body and turned him into an emotionless puppet. Realizing this, Yimo just jumped into the spirit marrow pond as he held 2 spirit crystals to start his recovery. Inside the Golden Page world, Yimo formed a hugged spirit Kai whirlpool. As he kept devouring the spirit marrow, the bleak Kai was gradually refined. Yimo slowly got completely covered by mist, and then suddenly winter's arrival created a huge suction force, absorbing the white mist. Yimo felt that winter's arrival became even colder after doing that, and he rejoiced immediately. Ever since acquiring the mist lotus heartfire, winter's arrival had been of little use. Yimo didn't expect that winter's arrival would be able to devour other bleak Kai. Yimo estimated that it had taken him a few days, but he had finally completely eradicated the bleak Kai. His power had also risen to the peak of Golden Core State Level 1 due to all the Spirit Kai he'd absorbed. Yimo was about to break through, so he took out 2 more Spirit Crystals. Now that all the wounds were gone, all the Spirit Kai turned into his own cultivation essence. Crack Yimo fell, his cultivation essence burst again and start flowing all over his meridians and back to his Dantian. Golden Core State Level 2. Yimo was happy. He didn't expect to only use 2 months to break through and have such powerful cultivation essence at Golden Core State Level 2. Seeing that a small half of the Spirit Marrow Pond was gone, though, Yimo sighed. He broke through fast, but he also used huge amounts of resources. Even a 9-star sect wouldn't be able to supply his cultivation resources. Yimo suspected that even after he used up all his Spirit Marrow and Spirit Crystals, he wouldn't be able to break through from Golden Core State Level 3 to Level 4 even in 100 years if he tried doing it by just absorbing ordinary Spirit Kai. But as Yimo looked at the huge spirit range in the Golden Page world, he felt a little comfortable. He had an entire spirit range to himself. Power meant everything to him right now, so what he feared was slow progress. He needed power to go to the 9-star sects and find Luo Ying, Ning Qingxue and the others. He needed power to protect Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling. He had also offended 2 Hollow Spirit State Masters, the Ghost Immortal sect, as well as the person from whom he took the spirit range. Yimo didn't keep cultivating in the Spirit Marrow Pond anymore. He instead moved to the spirit range and enforced the Spirit Gathering formation. According to Yimo's plans, after he went to Peihai City, he wouldn't be coming back anymore. He would take Song Yangzhu and the others to the South Peace State. Hence he wanted to go take a look at the all-herb mountain ranges before he left. Ever since getting that rusty sword, he had never gone there to see what was in that ancient ruin. Suddenly, 2 cultivators appeared in his surveillance formation. One tall, one short. Their matchup was quite funny. But Yimo didn't find it funny at all, as both of them were nascent soul state cultivators. Yimo wasn't sure if they were nascent soul state tertiary stage, but from the looks of it, they weren't weak for sure. Yimo could tell they were from the Ghost Immortal sect from their outfits. So close. Yimo murmured. The tall cultivator looked around and found the jade card. It seems that Yimo hasn't been here yet. Should we keep waiting or go to Xiashan City? The short cultivator looked at the jade card and said, no need to wait, he's just a Golden Core State Level 1 shrimp. He will need at least half a month to come here without a teleportation formation. Ji Hong said he's a meticulous guy. He's very cunning and careful. He might not come here even if we wait here in the first place. Let's just directly go to Xiashan City. Leave the jade card as it is. The tall cultivator clapped. Good idea, we can just wait for him there. If he doesn't come, we'll capture that Yangzhu, and then he'll come for sure. Chapter 951, Enemies Meet Again. Chapter 951, Enemies Meet Again. Yimo watched the 2 leave and waited another day before carefully packing his things. He then took that jade card and finally left. He could rest easy at last. Having directed the Ghost Immortal sect fellows to Xiashan City, Li Yuqian and company lost a big enemy. Yimo really wanted to go to Peihai City now, but he knew he had to increase his power at all costs. Although he was at Golden Core State Level 2 and he wouldn't fear even a Golden Core State Level 8 in battle, he had too many enemies, and every single one of them was much stronger than him. So, he chose to go to the All-Herb Mountain Ranges. The All-Herb Mountain Ranges were boundless. They formed one of the 10 big mountain ranges of the North Far State. This had always been a trial ground for low-level members of sects. Yimo obtained the rainbow golden lotus therein he passed and had reached the foundation establishment state there. This was also the place he killed Li Bailin. Without the flying pike, it was very inconvenient for Yimo. Although Zishu was also very fast, Yimo felt the flying pike saved a lot of time and effort. He had made up his mind to buy a good flying magic artifact after getting to a big city. Many days later, Yimo was back in the All-Herb mountain ranges. Although there had always been a lot of low-level sect members there doing trials, most of the area remained unsearched. The map Yimo had gotten was of the depths of the All-Herb mountain ranges. After getting there, Yimo used 3 days, while avoiding many level 5 beasts, to get to the spot that was marked on the map. Yimo believed that he currently didn't have to fear ordinary level 5 beasts, but if they fought, it would cause too much commotion. The spirit Kai there was dense, but Yimo thought that since it was a ruin he was looking for, the spirit Kai around it should be even denser. Yet when Yimo got to the place on the map, it was as if he were in the wilderness. There was nothing but naked rocks and peaks. The entrance should be at the edge of a huge stalagmite according to the map. Yimo was just about to check it when he felt cultivation essence waves appear in his spirit sense area. Someone was there. Yimo immediately noticed 4 cultivators, and all of them were more powerful than him. Without hesitation, Yimo hid himself. The 4 were all at the golden core state, so they were soon there. They also seemed to be looking for something. There were 3 men and 1 woman. The woman looked young but cold. She was very pretty, and her long hair was curled to the top. She was at least at golden core state level 7. Out of the 2 men in front of her, one was very handsome. Yimo was shocked to see that he actually knew the man. He was the city lord of River State City, Zhong Chengfeng. Yimo despised this hypocrite who took his pill yet did nothing for him. When Yimo first saw him, he was at golden core state level 6, but now he was at golden core state level 7. The frontmost man looked innocent and genuine. He was at golden core state level 8, but Yimo couldn't see anything special about him. Yimo could feel his arrogance, though. Clearly, he was the leader in his eyes. Yet Yimo had the strange feeling that this man wasn't as dangerous as the old man at the end. That old man had a slouched back and was also at golden core state level 8, but Yimo felt he was the scariest. They were all golden core state tertiary stage cultivators. No one was at the golden core state peak stage or middle stage. Just when Yimo was confused about why they were there, Zhong Chengfeng asked, "Brother Fei, we've been searching for 5 days, and we've pretty much looked through the whole area. Did you maybe remember wrongly?" The honest-looking man replied calmly, "I didn't remember wrongly. I found out about this unintentionally. The fellow that was acting against me ran from the market and killed a foundation establishment state cultivator called Jiu Yuhua. He robbed from him a 9-creviced sword and the map of an ancient ruin. The map was of the All-Herb ranges, but that young man just isn't here yet. But we've been looking for so long, would the person you got the information from have remembered poorly?" the cold-looking woman suddenly asked. "No, his Jiu Yuhua's brother, and his only at the Kai gathering state. I searched his soul, so I'm sure he didn't lie," the man called Fei said. Yimo had already realized who this Fei was. He was the person who tried to fight over the stone stool with him at Nanshan Market, Hidden Sword Sect's Fei Zijiang. Yimo was surprised to see that he looked like an innocent guy. One really can't judge a book by its cover. Since it was Fei Zijiang, Yimo knew why he could find out about him having taken the map and key. Luckily Yimo had put on 9 transformations. Otherwise, he would have been caught by him. Hearing this, no one else said anything, and they just kept looking. If it wasn't for this Fei Zijiang, it would be fine if these people left, but Yimo really wanted to kill Fei Zijiang. Just when Yimo was hesitating, the old man suddenly looked at the big stalagmite and said, "There's a hidden formation under there, let me open it and see." They had found the place, but Yimo wasn't worried. The 4 might have found the place but clearly didn't have the key. Haha, there's a hidden formation here indeed. It seems Brother Luo found the right person. Who else would set a formation here? Zhong Chengfeng laughed as he hacked out with his sword. Immediately the hidden formation disappeared, and a stone door was revealed. A space formation portal, the old man yelled in excitement. It really is a space formation portal. We're rich, ha ha ha. Fei Zijiang laughed in a hysteric way which really mismatched his innocent-looking face. Even the woman and Zhong Chengfeng were excited. What do we do now? Zhong Chengfeng was the first to calm down. Fei Zijiang stopped his hysterical laughter too and said, Brother Luo, set up a hidden formation outside the space formation portal, and let's go in first. The old man nodded and started throwing out formation flags. 15 minutes later, a new hidden formation was set up, and the four of them as well as the door disappeared from Yimo's sight. When Yimo was sure they should be thoroughly inside, he got up. A space formation portal was very hard to set up, so why was it covered by such a simple hiding formation? There were a lot of dubious points about it, but Yimo didn't want to waste time. The old man's formation was barely level 3, so it was not bad, but it was far from enough to stop Yimo. Yimo went inside and took out some formation flags of his own, setting a trap formation outside the hidden formation before going in. Chapter 952, Enticing Ruins. Chapter 952, Enticing Ruins. After going into the space formation, a long set of stairs appeared before Yimo. Yimo carefully sent his spirit sense down, but he found that the four people before him had disappeared. Clearly, something inside was blocking his spirit sense. Yimo walked for about 1 kilometer down the stairs and his spirit sense scanned those four cultivators again. They had stopped at a spacious hall in the shape of a hexagon. There were illumination formations all around the hall. Although it had been many years, these illumination formations could still consume spirit Kai. Yimo suddenly realized why there was a lack of spirit Kai there. There were so many formations there and all of them devoured spirit Kai from nearby. After countless years, of course there would be a lack of spirit Kai. The reason the group had stopped in this huge hall was because there was nothing else here except a huge sword-shaped rink in the center of the hall. Yimo looked at it and realized that the shape matched his sword. It seemed those two foundation establishment state cultivators were right. The big sword he had gotten was the key. No door, nor any place to go. What do we do? Zhong Chengfeng looked at the empty hall and asked. Fei Zijiang glanced around and said, that guy took the 9-chipped sword and that's the key. Although we found this place, we can't go in without the key. Zhong Chengfeng suddenly took out a flying sword and attacked the wall. There was just a low thud, but Zhong Chengfeng's flying sword didn't do any damage to the wall. There wasn't even a spark. There's no way you can force your way into there. Even a nascent soul state cultivator wouldn't be able to do that probably, the old man Luo said. Fei Zijiang's innocent-looking face spasmed. He really couldn't accept not being able to go into a treasure mountain. He was burning with anger. Brother Luo, didn't you say you could enter through the formation? Do you have news of the cultivator who stole the sword? The cold-looking woman shadowlessly asked. Fei Zijiang shook his head. No, after I found out about this ruin, I found Dao friend Luo and then I told you guys. This formation needs 4 golden core state cultivators to form it. Brother Luo, regardless of the situation, let's do what we planned before and set up a formation. The woman shook her head and said, I don't think ordinary formations will have any effect on this hall. Brother Luo can set up a level 3 formation at most. I don't think it's possible to shake this hall at all without a level 4 or above formation. Even though, since we're here, we need to try. If it doesn't work out, then we'll investigate the whereabouts of that kid, Zhong Chengfeng intervened. Fei Zijiang suddenly regretted it now. He should have found that cultivator first and come here himself. If in the end that old man Luo couldn't break the formation, then he would be losing too much. Not only would he not be getting anything, but also would he be exposing an ancient ruin. The old man nodded at Zhong Chengfeng's words. He took out formation flags, which he set up around the sword-shaped rink. Yimo could tell that the old man was setting up a 4-division position-breaking formation. This formation could use the power of 4 golden core state cultivators to blast this hall. However, when Yimo saw the old man set up another hidden blood sacrifice formation on the outside of the formation, he immediately realized this old man had ill intentions. Indeed, the old man said, the 4 divisions position-breaking formation needs essence blood as a lead. We'll prepare a drop of essence blood each and drop it into the heart of the formation. Yimo sneered. The blood sacrifice formation needed essence blood as a lead. Once the cultivator dropped his essence blood, the formation could suck the essence blood of the cultivator to supply itself with energy. Then, the old man dropped a drop of his essence blood on the formation's heart. Seeing this, the other three didn't think much and they all did the same. When he saw they followed his words, there was a sliver of joy at the corner of the old man's eyes. Yet, it soon disappeared. Okay, let's stand on one corner of the formation each. Then, the old man took the Zheng position. Zhong Chengfeng was the closest to the Zheng position, but he could only stand on the Kan position. The woman took the Dui position without hesitation. Fei Zijiang could only stand on the Li position. The Li was closest to the wall of the hall. However, Fei Zijiang felt strange, as though something was wrong but he couldn't tell exactly what it was. Just when he was still thinking, the old man said, "I'm going to activate the formation. Insert your cultivation essence into the formation, don't stop. The more cultivation essence, the stronger the formation." Then, the old man threw a formation flag and started to insert cultivation essence. The formation emitted a faint yellow light. The remaining three realized that the formation had been activated, so they started to insert their cultivation essence too. Thud, the formation started to inflate like a balloon. Rumble, the formation got activated. A powerful explosive energy charged out of the formation into the sword-shaped rink. The hall started to shake. Was the formation actually useful? However, Yimo immediately understood that the ancient ruin had been here for countless years and many of the defense formations had started to loosen up. The old man kept throwing formation flags as blasts of explosive energy charged at the wall. Fei Zijiang was the closest to the energy blasts and his clothes were already messy. If it went on, he was going to get heavily injured or even killed. He quickly said, "Brother Luo, stop. I can't stand here anymore, I need some rest." The old man smiled. "Dao friend Fei, don't worry, it will be fine soon. Just hold on a little longer." The impacts on the woman and Zhong Chengfeng's positions weren't as big as Fei Zijiang's, but there were still some. Rumble, a huge energy blow shook Fei Zijiang as he spat blood. "Luo Yuping, what did you do? Why does this formation keep draining my cultivation essence? Why can't I stop?" Fei Zijiang finally realized something was wrong. The old man acted as though he hadn't heard this and he just kept throwing formation flags inside. "Luo Yuping, this bastard wants to have the ruin all to himself," Fei Zijiang shrieked. Needless to say, the woman and Zhong Chengfeng had already realized this. They had both fallen into Luo Yuping's trap. Zhong Chengfeng called out, "Luo, are you trying to take up on us three at the same time? Hurry up and stop, or don't blame me for the consequences." The woman didn't speak, as though she was trying to activate something. Yimo sneered. These people didn't understand the power of a blood sacrifice formation. Devouring their cultivation essence was just the beginning. After a certain stage, the formation would devour their essence blood. But Yimo had no intentions of doing anything. Even if they didn't need to use the key and Luo Yuping broke in with the formation, he wasn't worried. Rumble, rumble, more explosions sounded. Yimo could feel the ground beneath him starting to shake. The old man's face was full of worry and concentration. Fei Zijiang spat mouthfuls of blood and shouted, "Luo Yuping, you treacherous bastard. The hidden sword sect won't let you go." "Eh!" He suddenly howled. "Luo Yuping, you dare suck my essence blood." Zhong Chengfeng and the woman's faces also went pale. They were feeling the same. The woman suddenly took out a rune and spat blood at it. Luo Yuping saw this and his expression changed drastically. He quickly threw many formation flags. Yet, the rune had turned into a huge whirlpool and it swept the woman away. A level 8 space mobility rune. The rune was worth a fortune. Yimo hadn't expected that a golden core state cultivator would have this sort of rune. Clearly, she was no simple character. With her escape, the place would soon be no secret. Yimo had to quickly search this place and leave. Chapter 953, Using a Trap Formation Against Yimo. Chapter 953, Using a trap formation against Yi Mo after the woman escaped, Luo Yuping spat a mouthful of blood. Zhong Chengfeng also ran out from the formation too. But he didn't have the power to fight with Luo Yuping. Fei Zijiang was paralyzed on the ground without the energy to resist. Luo Yuping looked at the unopened rink with a sliver of annoyance. He took out a huge sword and walked to Zhong Chengfeng. Zhong Chengfeng saw this, his face was full of fear. He said shakily, "Brother Luo, don't do this. I'm willing to go, let it go. Please take whatever you want from my storage ring." Luo Yuping shook his head. "You idiot. If you hadn't held back your strength at the beginning, I would have broken this wall already. Leaving a trash like you behind is a disaster anyway. Die. Don't. Zhu Yushuang already got away. If you kill me, the Zhong family will know for sure," Zhong Chengfeng begged. "Who is it?" Luo Yuping ignored Zhong Chengfeng and looked at Yi Mo, who had walked out of the shadows. When he saw that Yi Mo was only at Golden Core State Level 2, his face was full of surprise. He couldn't help saying, "You're a mere Golden Core State Level 2 cultivator? How did you avoid my spirit sense?" Luo Yuping noticed that the cultivator who had appeared was only at Golden Core State Level 2, but he didn't seem worried at all. He didn't dare to go up and attack. Yi Mo was capable of avoiding all of their spirit senses and follow them there. This meant that he was no ordinary cultivator. Moreover, he had used up a lot of cultivation essence too. Before Yi Mo could talk, Zhong Chengfeng called out in joy, "Brother Yi, I didn't think you would be here too. You even reached Golden Core State. Brother Yi, I'm Zhong Chengfeng, please save me." Yi Mo glanced at Zhong Chengfeng and said plainly, "So it's City Lord Zhong. What a coincidence." Yes, Brother Yi, we're both from River State City. Please save me." Zhong Chengfeng showed a fawning smile and said desperately. He had lost too much essence blood, he wasn't even as strong as a Kai-gathering peak stage cultivator at that moment. Luo Yoping's eyes spun and said, "So it's Dao Friend Yi. If Dao Friend Yi is Brother Zhong's friend, I will let him go. Yes. I'm friends with Yi Mo, very good friends. When Brother Yi opened a shop in River State, I went there." Zhong Chengfeng called out in desperation. Yi Mo shook his head. "What a waste of good looks. Your face is too thick. I had just opened my shop then and you took a face-preserving pill from me for nothing. Hee. I should be thankful that you didn't attack me, I couldn't even ask for you to pay me back, right? Later on, when Sister Li was forming her nascent soul, you didn't even want to lend me some spirit stones. Eventually, when people annihilated my China pharmaceuticals, how is it that I didn't see you come to help? City Lord Zhong, I really want to help you, but I really can't find a reason to." Zhong Chengfeng heard this and his face went pale. Suddenly, he cursed, "Yi, even if I die, the River State Zhong family won't let you go. They will kill you and annihilate your entire family." Yi Mo shook his head. This Zhong Chengfeng wasn't threatening Luo Yuping, who was about to kill him, but he put the hate on him instead. What logic was this? Moreover, how could he be scared of the River State's small Zhong family? "You're noisy." Luo Yoping's huge sword hacked down and Zhong Chengfeng was decapitated. Yi Mo grabbed the storage ring telepathically. Luo Yuping saw that even though he had killed the person, this Golden Core State Level 2 cultivator dared to take the loot. His expression looked bad. He didn't attack Yi Mo nor say anything. He looked at Fei Zijiang again. Fei Zijiang saw that Zhong Chengfeng was dead and his heart turned ice cold. There was nothing he could do now. He looked at Yi Mo. "Brother Yi, I'm the Hidden Sword Sect's Fei Zijiang. If you save me, I will pay you back with my life." Yi Mo sneered, "There's really a lot of familiar faces here. To be honest, I wanted to go find you later, but you came to me instead. I was interested in a stone stool in the Nanshan market, but it was bought by the wealthy and snobbish Mr. Fei. He. I was threatened as well, otherwise, how could I have known it was you? Fei Zijiang. Mr. Fei. It's you." Fei Zijiang pointed at Yi Mo and his hands started to shake. After a moment, he suddenly said, "The key is on you." Yi Mo took out a rusty-looking sword and said, "You're right, but there's no reward. By the way, let me borrow your storage ring." Yimo waved his hand and Fei Zijiang's finger fell off, along with his storage ring. However, Yimo threw it inside his golden page world without looking. Fei Zijiang looked dazedly at this comical scene and said after a while in joy, "So you're the person with the key? That means we can go into the ancient ruin now?" Then, Luo Yuping sliced off Fei Zijiang's head with a shake of his sword, as though he had done something insignificant. But Yimo looked calmly at Luo Yuping and said, "You're wrong. I can go into the ruins, not us." Luo Yuping was dazed. He then looked at Yimo with cold eyes. "You want to fight me? You're a mere golden core state level 2. Even though I've used some cultivation essence, it won't be a lot of trouble killing a golden core state level 2 cultivator." Then, Luo Yuping took out formation flags and started throwing them. He was careful in nature. Even though he was sure he could kill Yimo, he was still going to make preparations. He was laying out a trap formation. However, Yimo just stood on the side watching him, as though he didn't know what he was doing. Yimo was sneering inside. This was his usual method and it was amusing to see Luo Yuping using it now. Luo Yuping rejoiced as he kept throwing formation flags and said, "Brother Yi, if we work together on this ancient ruin, it'll be much better than doing it alone. If you agree, I will let you choose 3 items first." Yimo sneered. Luo Yuping was mean-hearted. If he hadn't used up half of his cultivation essence, he would have already attacked him. Although Yimo was sure he could kill Luo Yuping, he wasn't sure he wouldn't get injured. Who knew if this guy had some killing blow like Ji Jiyuan did? 10 minutes later, Luo Yuping's face looked joyful. He took out the controlling formation flag and threw it. P*NK, you're too immature to fight me. Thanks for bringing the key. Yet before his formation flag could land on the formation, it was grabbed by Yimo. Just when he got curious about how Yimo had managed to go into his formation so easily, he saw Yimo take out a few formation flags too and throw them in the formation. Instantly, his trap formation turned into a reverser trap formation. Luo Yuping had understood now. This golden core state level 2 cultivator's formation skills were far better than his. How could this be? He looked so young. How could he have such formation mastery? He had been studying formations for more than 2 centuries and he was only at level 3. However, this guy, with simply throwing a few formation flags, had turned his formation against him and trapped him instead. Clearly, he was a level 4 or maybe even level 5 formation master. Luo Yuping soon woke up. Now he had realized why Yimo hadn't done anything while he had been laying down the formation flags. He had tried to trap a formation master with a trap formation. Luo Yuping's face turned pale. "Let me go. I'm willing to give you everything," Luo Yuping said. However, he released his huge sword at the same time and took out a dark and yellow umbrella-like magic artifact. Yimo ignored Luo Yuping's plea for mercy. As he threw his formation flags, he activated the formation. A yellow light ray stopped the umbrella. Luo Yuping knew it was pointless to beg now. He charged with his sword at Yimo's formation. The sword almost broke the formation's yellow light ray. Yimo was shook. Luo Yuping was good at formations indeed. He had used half of his power, yet his strike had been more powerful than the strike of the Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator at the Herb Plane. If he attacked the formation a few more times, it would break. Although it was due to the fact that Luo Yuping had set up the formation and Yimo was only using it, it still showed his mastery in formations. Without hesitation, Yimo released Zishu. The Illusion Cloud Division strike brought a cascade of purple sword rays towards Luo Yuping. Chapter 954, Eerie 6-Star Hall. Chapter 954, Eerie 6-Star Hall. Luo Yuping was also worried, but not as worried as before, because he realized that this formation was as strong as he thought it would be. He was very shocked that Yimo took control of his formation so quickly. He thought he was dead for sure, but he didn't expect that he would be able to see through a gap of the formation after his strike. With time, he would be able to break this formation. Once he broke free, he wouldn't need to worry. This cultivator was only Golden Core State Level 2 after all. He was Golden Core State Tertiary Stage. Even though he had used up half of his cultivation essence, it was still enough to take on a golden core state level 2. When that cascade of ever-increasing purple sword rays swept over, however, he finally realized that Yi Mo's sword technique was also extraordinary. This made him worry again, while he used his yellow umbrella to stop the purple sword rays. But when the purple sword rays clashed with his umbrella, he realized just how wrong he was. He had used half of his cultivation essence, but even if he hadn't, he might not be a match for the golden core state level 2 opponent he was facing. Before he could speak, the purple sword rays completely overwhelmed the radiance of the umbrella with the help of the trap formation. Rip Luo Yoping's umbrella was torn apart and became tattered. Meanwhile, he was sent flying by the purple sword rays, crashing into the trap formation. He spat many mouthfuls of blood and fell to the ground, looking at Yi Mo in shock. He even forgot to beg for mercy. Never had he in all his years seen a golden core state level 2 cultivator as powerful as Yi Mo. Even though he wasn't in his prime, it was too absurd for a golden core state level 2 cultivator to break his umbrella shield in one strike. Yi Mo hacked out with Zishu again. Prior to his death, Luo Yuping would have never believed that he would die this simply. After taking Luo Yoping's storage ring, Yi Mo burned the bodies before studying this hall again. This hall was very spacious, and there was nothing inside. Other than the wall made of unknown materials, there was just that door to enter the place. Yi Mo turned around and wanted to set a trap formation at the entrance. It would alert him when someone came in. He believed it was necessary to be careful at all times. But when Yi Mo turned around, he was dazed. The door which he came in through was gone, and there were just 6 walls now. He couldn't tell which direction he had come from anymore, and what shook Yi Mo was that the wall with the rink also seemed to have changed. What was going on? Yi Mo was flustered. He had been in there the whole time, and if something changed, he should have noticed right away. But the rink had really changed from the Li position to the Khan position. Yi Mo calmed down. Regardless of whether the door was still there, it was very eerie that the rink changed positions. He closed his eyes and felt around with his spirit sense. The entrance disappeared, probably because some mechanism had activated. Perhaps the whole place was spinning. But Yi Mo was disappointed to find that the hall didn't have any signs of spinning. Yi Mo frowned. He suddenly didn't really like this place. It seemed too eerie, so without hesitation, he took out the sword and walked to the rink. He had no exit, it was impossible to break the walls, and he wanted to get the fortune here and leave as soon as possible. When Yi Mo was about to put the sword into the rink, he suddenly felt uncomfortable. This feeling was very strange. Yi Mo trusted his sixth sense very much. Was there some hidden danger there? Yi Mo hesitated, and he suddenly subconsciously wanted to take the sword away. However, before he could, a suction force came from the rink, and it targeted the key sword. The sword flew out of his hand and slid tightly into the rink. Yi Mo was shook. He immediately wanted to retreat but found that now, the entire hall did start to spin. It spun faster and faster. If this kept going on, Yi Mo could imagine he would be spun to pieces by the centrifugal force. Yi Mo realized at this point that this was no simple ruin. Ruins were for people to find and excavate, not to be killed by them. Wait, Yi Mo suddenly realized that this place resembled a formation. What formation was shaped like this and didn't use formation flags? A seal. Yi Mo suddenly realized this place was a seal. When he came in, the hall didn't spin. This wasn't a hexagonal hall. If you included up and down, this was an octagonal hall. So if this was a seal, then what was it sealing? Yi Mo didn't keep thinking, as no matter what was sealed there, it would be no good for him to release the seal. Since this was a seal, Yi Mo also realized that the sword was the key to unlock the seal. Realizing this, Yi Mo cursed. He immediately focused on resisting the dizziness and charged to the rink, grabbing the sword. The seal hadn't been completely unlocked yet, so he just had to take the key away. But when Yi Mo used his cultivation essence to pull it out, he found that the sword was stuck there and wasn't budging at all. Yi Mo seemed to hear a sneer, as though someone was mocking him for his feeble attempt. Yi Mo started to sweat. He used all his cultivation essence, but the sword still wasn't moving at all. Without hesitation, he took out that burst yin pill he had. He hadn't even used it against Ji Jiyuan, But he had to use it now. He threw it onto the rink and at the same time went into the golden page world. Rumble, a huge explosion sounded, and the entire hall shook. The explosive power was stronger than the formation Luo Yuping and company used. It was akin to the strike of a nascent soul state primary stage expert's strike. The hall seemed to have paused for just a moment, before it began to spin again. Before the explosion ended, Yimo came out from the golden page world. The violent concussion hadn't disappeared as it tore Yimo's clothes apart, but he didn't care at all. He only had one burst-yin pill. He couldn't come out after the effects were over. After Yimo came out, the first thing he did was to spit out essence blood. He started to burn his essence blood and then reached his hand into the rink and grabbed the sword, pulling it with all of his cultivation essence. The key loosened under the effects of the burst-yin pill, and after this grab, it was actually pulled out. The powerful suction force came again. Yimo held onto the sword tightly and immediately sent it into the golden page world. He knew that even if he put it in his storage ring, it might still be summoned out. Finally, the hall shook and started to slow down until it stopped completely. Yimo let out a sigh of relief and slumped to the ground, feeling powerless. Chapter 955, Scamming Each Other. Chapter 955, Scamming Each Other. Just when Yimo sat down, he felt a very angry Kai fill the hall. "Kid, where did you put the key to the ruin? Hurry up and take it out." Yimo heard an even angrier voice. The voice was like the sound of screeching metals. Yimo breathed easier after hearing this. This place was indeed a seal. Yimo couldn't see where the guy was nor his power, but he could feel his anger and how he was just an insignificant insect to this person. The reason he breathed easy was that he was sure the person hadn't been released yet. If he had been, then he would have been dead by now. Yimo took an life essence pill and got up. "Since this is a ruin, how come I don't see anything here? Aren't ruins usually supposed to have a lot of treasures? Why do I just see an empty hall?" The voice sneered, "Insolent brat. If you put the key back into the rink, the ruin will open and you will see the treasure. You haven't even opened the ruin yet. How can you see any treasure?" Yimo sneered. This place was clearly a seal, but this guy was trying to convince him that it was an ancient ruin. However, Yimo didn't need to say that. What he needed now the most was an exit, not to make the guy speechless through arguments. "As long as I don't see the treasure, I won't believe this place is a ruin," Yimo said and got up, wandering around the hexagon hall. The voice realized that Yimo wasn't taking him seriously and fell silent for a while. He was no longer as angry as before and said, "What treasure do you want?" His tone was still a bit sharp. Yimo heard this and thought, who knows who had released the key and had tricked him to come here to almost open the seal and lose this life? Yet, from this guy's tone, perhaps he could get something out of him. Thinking about this, Yimo said, "If only there was a way to increase cultivation speed. Oh right, it'd be great if there was a escape cultivation method. If I can't beat my enemy, I can run away at any time." The voice sneered. "These things are littered like trash in the ruin. As long as you open it, you will have anything you want." Yimo couldn't be bothered answering. He just kept looking for a way out in the hall. A while later, Yimo heard a clap. Two things fell into a corner of the hall. Yimo grabbed them telepathically and looked. It was a 5-element mobility cultivation method. It was at heaven grade level 5. Yimo also opened the bottle of pills, which emitted a pleasant aroma. Clearly, it was some kind of very high-level pill. Yimo couldn't even recognize what kind of pill it was. Then, Yimo heard that voice again. "This is a heaven grade 5-element mobility method, but this is rather ordinary inside the ruin. The pill is called the Heaven Ascension Pill. It can help you reach a level higher. The bottle is enough for you to reach Golden Core State Peak Stage in half a year." Yimo was amazed. He hadn't expected there would be such powerful pills here. Even if he took the blue when pill and sat in the spirit marrow pond every day, he wouldn't be able to reach Golden Core State Peak Stage in half a year. The Heaven Ascension Pill was truly powerful. Yimo didn't doubt the effects of the pill, but that didn't mean he would take this pill. Even if he was going to use this type of pill, it would be after he made it himself. Who knew if there was something dodgy with the pills this guy had given him? However, Yimo liked the 5-element mobility cultivation method greatly. Yimo put the pills and the cultivation method away and finally felt a little better. Seeing that Yimo still didn't have any intentions of taking out the key, the voice said impatiently after a while, "Why haven't you opened the ruin yet?" Yimo looked around and said, "If only there was a flying cultivation artifact." "Does the ruin have that?" Yimo desired a middle-grade flying spirit artifact the most. However, if he could get a cultivation artifact, why would he settle with a spirit artifact? The voice said in contempt, "A flying cultivation artifact is nothing, there's plenty of that in the ruin. Don't think that I'm trying to seduce you to open the ruin. The reason I want you to open it is because there's something I want from inside too. It's a level 9 spirit herb, it's called the immortal curl flower. There are plenty of immortal curl flowers inside, I just need one. Although I'm in the ruin, I'm only a spiritual body, I can't get close to the immortal curl flower, so I need your help. You only need to give me one after you get it." Yimo sneered. This person's words were a mixture of truth and lies. However, Yimo could tell that this person had realized he had a rare flame and that was a pill master. That's why he said such things. The immortal curl flower was said to be a level 9 spirit herb, but it had long surpassed the realm of spirit herbs. It could be called the immortal herb. It was a treasure that everyone in the cultivation realm desired. Its greatest power was building a body. A ghost cultivator or a spiritual body could build the perfect body for themselves through the immortal curl flower. Even if one wasn't a ghost cultivator, with this flower, they had a chance to rebuild a new body. This herb was talked about in legends. He knew that no one in the cultivation realm that had ever found it before. However, if a spiritual body was too weak and it didn't have a ghost core, it wouldn't be able to get near the immortal curl flower. If they got near it, they would immediately be devoured. They could only use an immortal curl flower that had already been plucked. Yimo could tell that the reason this guy had said this was to make him think that he hadn't reached golden core state in terms of ghost cultivation. Thus, he would be no match for him. No matter what, Yimo didn't believe this guy and he wasn't going to do as he said. "This means you haven't formed a ghost core yet?" Yimo asked intentionally. The voice hesitated and then said, "But I believe that in a few more decades I will be able to form a ghost core for sure. Only an idiot would believe that." Yimo shook his head. "Actually, I'm not interested in the immortal curl flower. My greatest interest is having a flying cultivation artifact." At this moment, the entity behind the voice had clearly realized Yimo was telling lies. Everything he had said before was a trick. He even suspected that Yimo could tell this place was a seal. Otherwise, why would he go through all that effort to pull the key out? However, Yimo was his only hope now. Hence, even though he knew Yimo was scamming him, he could only say, "Look, this is the level 10-9 feathers golden perch. This type of feather can even make extreme grade cultivation artifacts. My power is limited, so I can't move some of the cultivation artifacts." Yimo immediately grabbed it. He was filled with joy just by looking at the azure feather. This feather itself was no less valuable than any top-grade cultivation artifact. The strong power the feather emitted even shocked Yimo. Yimo placed the feather in a jade box and sent it into his golden page world. Seeing that Yimo was ignoring him again, the voice released his anger and said, "Now, will you open the ruin already? If there are some other extreme-grade spirit stones, then I'd be really interested. Are there some inside?" Yimo suddenly clapped his hand in excitement. "Insect. Are you here to make fun of me?" The voice finally couldn't resist it anymore. Yimo heard his and realized he couldn't get any more out of this guy. So he said coldly too, "Are you a ghost? A ghost that can see that I have a rare flame inside my body?" "When did I see that?" the voice subconsciously answered. "Then, how do you know I'm a pill master?" Yimo quickly asked. The voice didn't remember when he called Yimo a pill master. He paused, and then he realized that Yimo was tricking him. Clearly, Yimo had realized that he could see that he had a rare flame after he mentioned the immortal curl flower. Such meticulous thinking process. The voice said helplessly, "You're right. I shouldn't have mentioned the immortal curl flower." Yimo sneered, "Even if you hadn't talked about the immortal curl flower, I wouldn't have broken the seal to let you out. A ruin. You can trick other people, but not me. Chapter 956, Break Free. Chapter 956, Break Free. After Yimo said that, the voice turned extremely cold. So that means you've been tricking me this whole time? You've got what you wanted, yet now you don't plan on opening the ruin? It was just 2 sentences, but Yimo almost felt himself shiver. What strong power! But Yimo soon regained his composure. Trick you? Don't make yourself sound so pitiful. I'm disgusted. You've been saying this is a ruin non-stop. You never said it was a seal. From the beginning to the end, you've been thinking of how to trick me to open the seal. As for these things, I found them here. I never asked about them from you. How is that tricking you? The voice's owner was speechless. Yimo never asked him indeed. He just said it would be great if he had them. The voice's owner just hadn't realized this. The voice didn't keep arguing about this problem. It laughed, open my seal, and I can swear I won't hurt you and will let you go out. I have a lot of good things, and there are a lot of treasures here. I can give it all to you. If you don't want to open it, then after a few more years have passed, I will still be able to open the seal myself. By then, you would be the first person I want to kill. Moreover, even if you don't open the seal, do you think you can just leave? This is an 8-gate spirit locking formation. Unless you also have a level 8 teleportation rune like that person from before, you will be trapped here like me. Yimo had still wanted to ask who had trapped this man here and why the key would be in the outside world, but after hearing that, he lost interest. The most important thing for him now wasn't to ask about that but to find a way out. He didn't have a level 8 teleportation rune. But Yimo didn't believe his last sentence. He was at most trapped outside the seal. This was completely different to being sealed inside the seal. If it really was inside the seal, then he was sure that even the woman before wouldn't be able to leave. Seeing Yimo ignore him again, the voice said more things, but Yimo ignored it all. Eventually, the voice stopped talking, as the owner was made to wonder why he couldn't sense the key anymore. 2 days later, Yimo was still walking around the hall without any progress. At the moment, he was really getting a bit desperate, and eventually, he just sat down. He knew that if he kept going around like that, it wouldn't help him at all. Yimo stared at the rink. He was sure that it changed places not because it changed to a different face of the wall, but because the hall was spinning. When he first came in, he was facing the wall with the rink. As long as he found the wall facing the rink, he would find the entrance. Yimo sat down and started investigating how the wall with the door could have suddenly disappeared. Yimo thought there might be a stealth formation hiding the door, but after Yimo used every method he could think of, he still didn't find any stealth formation. Space formation door? Just when he didn't know what to do, these words popped into his head. He came in through a space formation door. Would the entrance also be a space formation door? Thinking about this, Yimo's heart sunk. There were many types of space formation doors, and although Yimo couldn't lay down any of them, he knew there were conditions to activate one. If it really was a space formation door, then he really wouldn't be able to go out. Unless he could reach the level of building a space formation door himself one day, he would never be able to leave through this 8-sided hall space formation door. A few more days passed without Yimo finding any way to escape. He was very worried being trapped there. The voice seemed to know that Yimo didn't want to talk to him, so it never talked, as though waiting for Yimo to ask for his help after experiencing defeat. On the 9th day, Yimo in his dejectedness took out the half an eye he obtained from the 3-eyed purple frog and started to spirit control it. Half a day later, the eye turned into nothing, and some simple spirit sense refining and basic attacking means appeared in Yimo's mind. Yimo rejoiced and even forgot about going out. A spirit sense attack, the voice sounded. After cultivating the 3-birth chant, he could learn it with the slightest of hints and form his own cultivation method based on those hints. The spirit sense attack was no different. When Yimo opened his eyes again, he felt that although his spirit sense hadn't gotten stronger, it was more refined. He could even make a simple spirit sense attack to stun the opponent now. When Yimo tried his spirit sense attack on a wall, a huge door suddenly appeared. Yimo rejoiced and was flustered at the same time. No way, was his spirit sense attack that strong? He had just begun learning it. But soon, Yimo understood what was going on. Someone else was coming. Before anyone even appeared, Yimo already understood from the power waves that there were at least 3 nascent soul state cultivators coming. The door had opened and they hadn't come in yet, so without wasting even a moment, Yimo dashed out of the first door and stayed by the door side, not daring to move. Even if he was risking his life, he was going to try to get out. If he didn't get out, he would be killed by those who came in anyways. As soon as Yimo left the hall, he heard the furious rage of that voice, but soon he couldn't hear it anymore. He knew why the voice raged. Yimo had taken away the key. Yimo was very confident in his stealth cultivation method, but he wasn't too sure against nascent soul state cultivators. He acted like a rock on the side of the road, emitting no cry whatsoever. But Yimo knew that if nascent soul state cultivators were to continuously keep their spirit sense on him, he would be caught no matter what. Thus, he only dared to hide at a place not far from the door, so the cultivators would see the door and ignore him. He didn't dare to hide into the golden page world yet. He couldn't change its color, so if a golden light suddenly appeared in midair, it would be found by them. There's a door here. It seems Xijiang went in from here, a low voice said not far from Yimo. It seems these people came to find Fade Xijiang. It really was good to have a sect. For people had come, and 3 of them quickly passed through the door. The last person was almost about to step in as well when Yimo clearly felt him hesitate, about to step back. But eventually he didn't. Yimo then couldn't help it anymore and dashed up the stairs towards outside. Was something wrong? One of them noticed and asked. The last cultivator frowned and said, "There's something strange here, so let's go back out first. When I first came in, I seemed to have felt someone hiding by the door, but when I wanted to check it, I came in subconsciously first. Someone who can hide even from us? Is he a nascent soul state cultivator too, maybe even stronger than us?" one of the party said. The last cultivator shook his head. "He might not be as strong as us, but he must be at nascent soul state for sure. Otherwise, how could we be tricked? I'll go back to Chehum." As the 3 turned around, they saw the door that was behind them disappear. "This place is very dangerous," the last cultivator said. Chapter 957, The South Peace State's Black Ice Mountain. Chapter 957, The South Peace State's Black Ice Mountain. Yimo dashed outside through the space formation door and the stealth formation as fast as he could. He got on Zishu without even daring to turn around. He carried a purple beam with him as he howled past the sky of the all-herb mountain ranges. He could no longer care about staying low-key. It would be success if he got out of the all-herb mountain ranges. There were 4 states on Luoyu continent and each continent was boundless. However, all of them put together weren't even close to the size of the Heartless Sea. The South Peace State was the best cultivation ground on Luoyu continent. The Black Ice Sect was one of the 9-star sects there, which was situated on the famous Black Ice Mountain. It was said that the sect had been built more than 100,000 years ago. It had always been on the top 3 amongst the 9-star sects. In the past millennium, the Black Ice Sect was no longer as glorious as before and it was at the bottom of the 9-star sects. Even its 9-star grade was in danger. Yet recently, they had acquired a few genius disciples. All of these sort of signs showed that the Black Ice Sect seemed to be able to rise up again and reach the top 3. In a 10,000 kilometers radius around the Black Ice Mountain, there was 1 main peak, 18 side peaks and 108 supplementary peaks. The main peak was the Black Ice Peak, where the core of the sect was. Truth realization state cultivators used to be the only ones that could stay at the side peaks, but that had changed too. Now, there was only 1 truth realization state cultivator in the sect. Hence, those who reached cauldron filling state could live on the side peaks. Those above cauldron filling state were the grand elders of the sect. As for the supplementary peaks, they had been accommodated for the inner sect elders and some managers, as well as cultivator who had made huge contributions to the sect. Other than these peaks, there were countless small peaks on the Black Ice Mountain. These were awarded to excellent sect members. To all the cultivators there, their greatest desire was to study under one of the 18 side peak leaders and become a core disciple. Only then could they live there. However, Most sect members wouldn't even be able to get into the 108 supplementary peaks. The Black Wind Peak was also one of the 18 side peaks. This peak's leader was one of the cauldron-filling state grand elders of the sect, Fan Lianzhu. The spirit Kai there was extremely dense, and there was an individual spirit range underneath the spirit-gathering formation. From a room on this peak, a woman of unparalleled beauty walked outside. There was some joy in her despondent eyes. "Sister Susu, have you reached Golden Core State?" Another beautiful woman came out of the house next door and said in excitement. Beiwei, you're almost at Golden Core State too. Hopefully, someday we will be able to cross the Heartless Sea and go to the East Black State to see if your brother is there, Susu replied. Beiwei nodded. I also miss my brother. We came together as 5 before, but now we've gone to 3 different sects. I wonder how Sister Qingxue, Zi, and Luo Fei are. Clearly, they didn't know that Yi Mo was in the North Far State. So Luo Ying, who had recovered her memories, believed Yi Mo had gone to the East Black State. They wanted to cross the Heartless Sea to find Yi Mo. However, without having power above body condensation state, it was a joke. Hearing this, Luo Ying's joy of reaching Golden Core State disappeared. It was fine as long as they cultivated non-stop every day. However, once they stopped, that burning longing scraped their heart. Luo Ying didn't tell Beiwei that Yi Mo's talent was average. In a few decades, they might have still not found Yi Mo yet, even if they reached cauldron-filling state. Moreover, Luo Ying was worried that Yi Mo hadn't come to Luo Yu continent at all. If that was the case, they would never be able to see Yi Mo again. She knew it was a coincidence that they had come there. If they wanted to go back, it would be impossible unless they had world-dominating power. That kind of power wasn't something that could be achieved by the cultivators of the cultivation realm. If she could choose, Luo Ying would rather go back to Earth and live with Yi Mo in Luo Yu City. In her eyes, it was SOSO to live thousands of years without Yi Mo. She would rather live a few decades with Yi Mo. Tang Beiwei was also worried that her brother hadn't come there, but she didn't say it out loud. If they said it out loud, then they would lose hope and stop cultivating. Sister Susu, we didn't go to the Desert Plain Herb Valley this time because our power was too low. Are we going to the South Peace City Cultivator meeting next April? Tang Beiwei changed the topic. Luo Ying came back to her senses and nodded. Core disciples like us aren't allowed to leave the sect without a certain level of power. Qingxue will probably go to the meeting next year. It'd be good if we saw each other. Sister Susu, last time I went to Treasure Tower, I heard something. That 9-star Infinity Sect's core disciple when Sai said she would challenge you after reaching Golden Core State. If we go to the South Peace City next year, will we meet her there? She ranked number 1 in the Golden Core State Hall of Fame, Tang Beiwei asked worriedly. Luo Ying looked at Tang Beiwei in confusion. I don't even know her, why is she challenging me? I'm not interested in fighting. If she thinks she's strong, I won't disagree. What has that got to do with me? Tang Beiwei shook her head. It's not that. You and her both ranked first beauties of the South Peace State. On top of that, the person she likes is Yuan Guannan from the Infinity Sect, but the person he likes isn't her. That Yuan Guannan said after he reached nascent soul state, he would come and propose to us. Yuan Guannan liked Wen Sai a lot before we came, but after we got here Luo Ying said calmly, I'm not going to compare myself to her. I have a husband, she can like whoever she wants. It has nothing to do with me. Tang Beiwei nodded. Yes, she's the most beautiful in the South Peace State, yet she's that bored. I heard there's a Dong Tianyang who likes her in her sect, but she doesn't like him back. I really wonder who that Yuan Guannan is. How can he make her love him so much? Beiwei, let's not care about such things. We need to focus on cultivation. This isn't our home, Luo Ying said. I know, sister. Tang Beiwei poked her tongue out. The North Far State's Jiangchuan City was as populated as Broken Leaf City. Cultivators and mortals lived amongst each other. The spirit Kai there was arid and there weren't many cultivation resources nearby. It was also very far from the Heartless Sea. So there were rather less cultivators there, and no high-level cultivators. The highest level there was only at Foundation Establishment State. There were occasional Golden Core State passerbys. Even the City Lord there was just a martial artist. Those with higher power wouldn't stay there. They would go to a place with more spirit Kai. When Yimo got there, it had already been 3 months after he had escaped from the All-Herb Valley. During these 3 months, Yimo had been to 15 cities and 4 small countries. Some were cultivation cities and some were just mortal cities. Yimo had tried to avoid cultivators from the Ghost Immortal sect, as well as that black and white halfway pill king. He chose distant places. Yimo was still wearing 9 transformations. Chapter 958, Worried. Chapter 958, Worried. The reason why Yimo was taking so long was partly due to taking alternate routes, but more so because he was studying the Heaven Ascension pill. He didn't dare take it, but if he could make it himself, he of course would dare eat that. Even if he spent 1 year to study it and half a year to raise his level, he felt it would be worth it because without it, he would need at least a few years to reach Golden Core State peak stage with other resources. If he didn't have pills or any special resources, he wouldn't be able to reach the Golden Core State peak stage even after 5 or 6 decades. Luckily, Yimo didn't waste the past 3 months. Although he hadn't decoded the pill yet, he found something and knew at least 2 ingredients. What made Yimo especially happy was that his Spirit Sense attack had formed a basic model. He had named his Spirit Sense attack Purple Eye Soul Sever. Yimo divided it into 7 levels. The first level allowed Yimo's Spirit Sense to attack someone else's Spirit Sense by forming a Spirit Sense pike. The instant of the attack would render a piercing pain to the opponent's Spirit Sense, making them dizzy for a brief moment. But there was a condition for the attach, which was that the opponent had to send out their Spirit Sense first. The second level could actually sever the part of Spirit Sense the opponent was sending out, thereby injuring their soul. The third level could form a Spirit Sense sword. From this level onward it was no longer a matter of just making the opponent be stunned for a brief moment. It could attack the opponent's sea of consciousness. If their sea of consciousness wasn't strong enough, it could get broken by the Spirit Sense sword. Even if the opponent didn't send out their Spirit Sense, the attack would still be effective. If Yimo could reach level 7, he would be able to use the Spirit Sense attack to crush his enemy's sea of consciousness and turn them into an idiot. It was very hard to defend against the Purple Eye Soul Sever unless the opponent had a Spirit Sense defensive magic artifact. However, the attack also had a fatal weakness to it. It also injured the attacker's Spirit Sense, and it had a huge requirement on the power of the attacker's Spirit Sense. Even Yimo would only be able to use level 1 twice right now. If he continued to use it after that, he would be the one to faint first. The greater the power, the greater the side effects, but Yimo believed that as his Spirit Sense kept getting stronger, one day he would be able to ignore such injuries. Yimo had also gone from the Golden Core State level 2 primary stage to the middle stage. This was thanks to a bottle of green condense pills and was quite a lot. Coming to the city Yimo was currently in, he was in no rush to cultivate. He found a hotel and was prepared to stay a day before going. Yimo had a habit of carefully scouting the area to see if there were wanted signs for him each time he came to a new place. If he found any signs, he would immediately change directions. He wasn't afraid of wasting time, but he was very afraid of bringing along any enemies to Pei High City. He hadn't seen any wanted signs for him on the way yet, but he was still very careful. As soon as Yimo came, he noticed there were no high-level cultivators. The highest-leveled cultivator was only at the Foundation Establishment State. The first thing Yimo did after coming to the hotel was to send out his Spirit Sense to cover the entire city. Despite knowing there were no Golden Core State cultivators around, he didn't carefully cover the entire heavens with his Spirit Sense. Compared to Earth, Yimo felt that he should be more careful with his current power on Luoyu continent. As Yimo sent out his Spirit Sense, he felt a sense of familiarity. Yimo immediately looked over and saw a young girl wearing a bracelet. The girl looked cute and wasn't ugly in any way. What shook him, though, was the bracelet. It was a bracelet he had made. A magic artifact that could attack and defend. Yimo liked to leave his Spirit Sense mark on magic artifacts he made. Clearly, Someone he knew had lost it. Yimo no longer had the mood to keep watching patiently, so he went to the young girl's room and grabbed her wrist, taking the bracelet. The girl was enjoying reading in her room when a man suddenly appeared from the sky and menacingly took her bracelet, so she immediately screamed. Clearly, her family was well off and had some power as this was a private manor. After her scream, 2 maids immediately came, and one of them wasn't too bad in terms of power. Yimo didn't care, however. The moment he took the bracelet, he knew who it belonged to. It was the one he told Ning Qingxue to bring to Su Jingwen. Clearly, Su Jingwen had also come here but didn't seem to be doing well. Yimo knew that had Yimo stayed with Su Jingwen. "Who are you? Why did you come to my room, taking my thing?" The girl calmed down quickly. She could tell that this man only cared about the bracelet and didn't even stop her from screaming. "Miss, what happened?" The 2 maids immediately positioned themselves in front of the girl. Yimo asked the girl coldly, "Where did you get this bracelet?" "Why should I tell you?" The girl's tone wasn't nice as hearing the footsteps in the yard, she knew the guards were already there, and she felt confident. Immediately, a few strong guards appeared by the door. One man came up and heaved a sigh of relief after seeing the young miss was fine, and he quickly asked, "Miss, what is going on? Did this man hurt you? Should we capture him?" Before the girl could talk, Yimo waved his hand, and the guards were all swept away like leaves falling into the yard. The girl opened her mouth in shock, and before she could scream again, Yimo raised his hand, and the makeup desk in front of her turned into dust. Then she heard Yimo's even colder voice, "I'll give you 3 seconds. If you don't speak, then you don't need to speak ever again." This involved Su Jingwen's life, so Yimo had 0 patience. The maid reacted first. She immediately realized that this person was some legendary immortal master. She began to shake as these immortal masters didn't need a reason to kill. They did whatever they wanted. This immortal master was even furious and clearly had little patience at that. She resisted the fear and quickly shook the girl. The girl reacted and called out in excitement, "You're an immortal master?" 1. 2. Yimo counted bleakly. The girl just realized now wasn't the time to admire Yimo, and she quickly answered, "I saw this bracelet at the precious jewelry tower. It was very pretty, so I bought it." After saying that, she was going to keep talking, but she found that the man had already disappeared. "I saw an immortal master today, and a very powerful one." The girl was still immersed in the experience. "Miss, quiet, those immortal masters have strange tempers and kill on a whim," the maid reminded. A moment later, Yimo appeared before the precious jewelry tower. "Hello sir, are you here to buy jewelry? Please go up the stairs." A waiter immediately came up. Yimo had no mood to waste time with him and said, "Tell your manager to come here, I have business with him." The attendant could tell that Yimo was probably not there to buy jewelry but to start trouble. His tone was no longer as polite as before, and he said calmly, "The manager isn't here. Sir, if you're not here to buy jewelry, please leave." Chapter 959, Search. Chapter 959, Search. Then he looked at the 2 martial artists at the door. Clearly they were the guards. The 2 guards walked over and said to Yimo, "Sir, if you're not here to buy anything, leave." Before they could finish, they were thrown out and smashed onto the door sign, shattering the luxurious shop sign. They fell onto the streets holding their legs and were crying out in pain. Then, Yimo said coldly, "Tell your manager to come. If you say any more bullsh*t, I will tear this place apart." Yimo was burning with desperation and was not going to use calm means. He needed to know where Su Jingwen was as quickly as possible. Su Jingwen was the first girl he met on Earth, and Yimo was with her too. Without the attendant even having to call, a very fat man suddenly rushed down. He immediately saluted with his fists and said respectfully, "I didn't know Immortal Master had arrived. My apologies for all the rudeness, please have a seat upstairs." Clearly, this manager had been watching what was happening downstairs. Yimo took out a bracelet and said, "Did this come from your place?" The manager now knew that Yimo had to be there because of the bracelet and quickly said, Yes, it was sold from my shop 5 days ago by the young miss of the Qin Manor, Qin by her. I didn't ask you who bought it." I want to know where you got it from. Yimo calmed down a little, seeing the manager was cooperating. The manager was clearly astute, and he knew that the bracelet hadn't come through proper means. If ordinary people came to investigate, he wouldn't tell the truth, but now an immortal master came and asked. He didn't dare to lie at all. If he offended an immortal master, his entire shop would be immediately disintegrated, much less his fame. Although they also had an immortal master behind their back, who knew if they wouldn't reach some deal? Also, it just wasn't worth it for an ordinary person to hide things from an immortal master. And so without hesitation, the manager said, "It was the 4 Pei brothers we got it from. They used to dominate the local martial scene, and every once in a while, they would come sell some things." "This bracelet where are they now?" Yimo asked. The manager immediately replied, "They aren't in Jianchuan City. They're in the Pei family manor outside the city. It's 50 kilometers to the east from here." The manager gave very specific details without Yimo needing to ask. Seeing Yimo suddenly disappear from right in front of him after saying that, he was even more scared. Luckily, he didn't offend the immortal master. It seemed this was no ordinary immortal master. It was near winter, and there were rarely people outside the city. People gathered inside the city walls, and so the streets seemed busy. When Yimo got to the Pei family manor, it was also very populated. 4 men were drinking in a room with a few beautiful maids serving them wine on the side. That Ma Yang when really knows how to enjoy life, starting dual cultivation with that Laro Shenzi. Does he have nothing to do? How can he live joyfully like us, drinking wine and eating meat? A man on the left said with a little drunkenness. The skinny man opposite him smiled and said, "Third brother, aren't you just jealous that us 4 don't have spirit roots?" That man gulped another cup. Clearly he was a little jealous. The man sitting at the head seat said, "Second brother, you don't need to say that. Although we live an enjoyable life, it's not as good as those immortal masters. Living hundreds of years and all that. I heard that next spring, the Changhe River will start taking in disciples. We should go have a look too." Just when they wanted to agree, a voice said, "That's if you have the life to go." The 4 shot up and saw a man suddenly appear in their room, watching them coldly. "Who are you?" The big brother stopped them from attacking and asked. He knew that this person quite possibly might be an immortal master to be able to appear in their room without them noticing. Yimo took out a bracelet. "Where did you get this bracelet from?" All 4 brothers could tell Yimo didn't harbor good intentions, so the 4th brother suddenly said, "This is the first time I've seen this bracelet. We have never had anything to do with it." Yimo didn't look at him, but his spirit sense easily caught the glimmer in his eyes. Clearly the fellow was lying. Yimo threw out a wind blade casually, and the 4th brother was sliced in half before he could even scream. Blood splashed out onto the floor. The maids immediately fainted at such a bloody scene. The other 3 couldn't take it anymore. One of the 4 brothers was killed. They pulled out their swords and charged up. Yimo could tell that their brotherhood was extreme, so it would be impossible to interrogate them. Thinking about this, Yimo no longer had the intention of asking questions. He killed another one and controlled the souls of the other 2 to interrogate them. The 2 had never cultivated before, so it was very easy to do so. If they had formed spirit sense, it would be very hard. Soul-searching someone with spirit sense would be even more implausible, as it required at least truth realization state power and a soul-searching cultivation method. 15 minutes later, Yimo killed the last 2 and left this Pei manor. He had learned of the bracelet's story. 2 months earlier, Jiangchuan City had a battle with the nearby Fumo City. It was a battle between 2 cultivators initially, but countless people in the cities died. People soon started to flee, including the wealthy families. Some wealthy families brought along guards, but most of them were in a chaotic state, so the 4 brothers used the opportunity to rob all those asylum seekers. From what they knew, this bracelet was taken from some very ugly woman. Yimo asked repeatedly, but the men assured him that the woman didn't have another girl by her. Clearly Yimo wasn't there, whether that ugly woman was Su Jingwen in disguise or not. Finding out that those asylum seekers had all ended up in Jiangchuan City, Yimo came back to the city again. He searched with his spirit sense, and in order for Su Jingwen not to be shocked by seeing him, he took off 9 transformations. Yimo believed that as long as Su Jingwen was there, he could find her. Meanwhile, the sky grew dark, and more snowflakes started floating. Soon, the ground was covered in a thin layer of white snow. Yimo stood above the city. The city walls were big but could only block some wind. If Su Jingwen was in the city, she would have nowhere to go once it snowed. Yimo could only hope she found a good place to stay. Yimo was very desperate, but he couldn't find Su Jingwen in the end. He gradually calmed down. He knew he had to calm down to find one person out of a million people. So he stood in the center of the street and searched with his spirit sense again and again. As the snow grew bigger, the busy streets quickly quietened down. Soon, there was only Yimo on this street. Yimo kept searching very carefully and didn't even notice a layer of snow was forming on him. Chapter 960. The Moment I Met You. Chapter 960. The moment I met you, the places Yimo needed to search were fewer and fewer, but this just made him more worried. He had searched 90% of the area, but there were still no signs of Su Jingwen. A woman wearing rags stumbled across the street Yimo was at. She noticed Yimo standing in the center of the street, cloaked in snow, and had a sudden resonance in her heart. Was this person standing in the snow like her due to something he didn't want to let go? She knew that once the snow fell, the frigid winter had arrived. Her days of roaming outside would be over. If she couldn't find a good place to go, then she would have to prepare for death. She wanted to roam around in the snow and think about her days in Ninghai. Think about how she went from Ninghai to Luoyu City for him. From Luoyu to that small world, and then from the small world to this living hell. After reminiscing those days, she would leave Jiangchuan City and find a peaceful place in the wilderness to settle and leave this world peacefully. Perhaps in her next life, she would find a place where she truly belonged. Perhaps in her next life, she would find love in someone who also loved her back. Her only pity was that her bracelet had been stolen. If only she could leave the world with the bracelet still on her. She had no regrets. Sometimes, people needed to pursue what they wanted in life, and she wasn't a woman who could settle for anything. She just wondered if her mother was all right, if Yimo, Wanqing, and sister Yuhua were fine. She wondered if he was fine. Perhaps no one would ever know that her final destination had been a place like this, a world like this. She walked past Yimo, who was standing still. When she was only a few meters away, her heart suddenly ached. She turned around and looked at the man who stood still in the middle of the street. The bracelet he was holding in his hand. She was dazed. After a long while, she moved her eyes from the bracelet to Yimo's face. Although Yimo's eyes were closed and there was a layer of snow on his hair and brows, she was still shook. An unexplainable feeling gushed out from the depth of her heart. Am I dead? Am I hallucinating? Is this person really him? Why is it so real? She didn't wipe her eyes, she didn't dare move. She was scared that this figure would disappear and she would wake up from her hallucination to realize she was still by herself in that endless strange world. Tears flowed down her eyes, finally letting go countless hardships. She had never teared up, but at that moment she couldn't control her tears anymore. In her loneliest and most helpless moments, she hadn't considered crying even though she had been about to die. But seeing this person before her, she could no longer bear the feeling of helplessness, loneliness, and grief in her heart. She wanted to cry. However, this was even more of a reason not to move. She would rather die slowly like this than make the hallucination before her eyes disappear. She didn't dare say a word. When I first met you, I was walking down the busy streets of my hometown. The hustling crowd around us. You were alone in a corner of the street selling charms. At that time, you weren't a part of world yet. But you saved my mother. When I met you for the last time, I was walking on the streets of a foreign place. Flying snowflakes around us. You stand alone in the middle of the street waiting for the snow. At that moment, you were only the hallucination of my mind. You allow me to leave without any regrets. The snow had also covered her body, but she didn't move nor blink. She wasn't going to let the person before her disappear even if it was just an illusion. Yimo's heart sunk. He hadn't let anyone pass his spirit sense. He had fully committed his mind to searching. Even if someone had tried to attack him, he wouldn't have noticed. He probably had never been so focused on doing something. However, he had been searching nearby and hadn't found Su Jingwen at all. Imo sighed. He was prepared to take back his spirit sense and leave when he saw someone standing a few meters from him, not moving. How far does someone have to search? Sometimes, you search around everywhere, but you can't see that what you're looking for is right in front of your eyes. Jingwen. Imo immediately realized that the person in front of him was Su Jingwen. He had been looking for her, but she had found him first. Since she had found him, why wasn't she talking? Why was she just standing there? Su Jingwen had a faint smile on her face. 2 rows of tears were frozen on her face. She didn't have Imo's cultivation essence power. Her body was weak to begin with. If she hadn't had that faith holding her, she would have fallen down already. Imo's spirit sense immediately noticed that Su Jingwen was on the brink of death. He was shook. He quickly grabbed her and took her to his hotel. Imo took off her disguise, unveiling that pretty and familiar face of hers. With Imo's power and Pill King prowess, it wasn't hard for him to heal Su Jingwen. Yet, what disappointed Imo was that no matter what he did, Su Jingwen simply had a smile on her face and looked at him. If he disappeared from her sight, she would tear up. Imo was sad. He hadn't thought Su Jingwen had such feelings for him. In the depth of his heart, he felt guilty. He had thought of many people, but he had been worried about Su Jingwen due to Imo. He remembered when Su Jingwen invited him to dinner. The first dance of his life had been with Su Jingwen. No matter what, I will cure her, Imo made up his mind. He started to remove her clothes and shower her. Imo was just going to stay in this city for a day, but because of Su Jingwen, he stayed for 3 days. On the 4th day, he took her to the most famous doctor there. He was a cultivator, so he never had thought he would need a mortal doctor. Even though he was powerful and a pill king, he didn't know what was wrong with Su Jingwen. He had refined Su Jingwen's marrow for her and even cured her old sickness, but she was still like this. Imo had taken her to many clinics, but none of them could even tell what was wrong with her. However, at least he knew that one person might know what was wrong with her. That man was Dr. King Sun Huchang. It was said that he was not only a Dr. King, but also an immortal master. He lived on the minute he mountain thousands of kilometers from there. Imo immediately headed towards this place. Yet, Imo could only hold Su Jingwen in his arms. He couldn't carry her on his back as she would start crying as soon as she couldn't see him. After getting there, Imo immediately realized that Sun Huchang was just an ordinary solo cultivator and one who wasn't so powerful. Spirit Kai was scarce there too. Seeing this, Imo was greatly disappointed. Sun Huchang was worse than him and he was perhaps this famous only due to his status as a cultivator. But regardless, he had to check if this Sun Huchang actually had skills. Imo didn't know if Sun Huchang had the skills, but he certainly thought highly of himself. Imo was stopped outside the formation. 2 Kai gathering female disciples said that their master was outside and he hadn't come back yet. As soon as they said this, 2 men came out. One had a beard up to his chest and seemed like an immortal, the other was an ordinary-looking man. Yet, Imo realized that these 2 cultivators were at Golden Core State Level 7. "Brother Sun, I'll rely on you for this matter," the ordinary-looking man said. Imo immediately could tell that the bearded man was Sun Huchang. Sun Huchang laughed. "Dao friend Li, don't worry, I will do my best. In 1 month, you will receive good news." Chapter 961, Obsession. Chapter 961, Obsession. This looks like a case of the will overexertion syndrome. What a woman of strong obsession. It was the ordinary-looking man who said this. Imo heard this like immortal music and quickly went up and saluted with his fists. "Dao friend, do you know the cause for her illness?" The ordinary-looking man was much stronger than Imo but seemed very amicable, and he nodded. "I know the cause of her illness because I've seen it before. You're probably here for pills from Pill Master Sun, right? But you're probably going to be disappointed. Sun Huchang glanced coldly at Yi Mo and Su Jingwen and didn't say anything. Yi Mo was very unhappy with this Sun Huchang. He was just an ordinary pill concoctor. Was this act necessary? Did he think he was a pill king? But since this ordinary-looking man recognized Su Jingwen's condition, Yi Mo couldn't underestimate Sun Huchang. Moreover, he had come to ask for help, so he saluted with his fists. Pill Master Sun, may I ask? Before Yi Mo could finish, Sun Huchang waved his hand and said, no need to ask, I can't cure this. This is the first time I've heard of such a condition. Then, he ignored Yi Mo and saluted with his fists to the ordinary-looking man. Brother Li, I'll be going. Then, he went back inside and shut the formation. The person he called Brother Li showed his hands to Yi Mo and said, he's such a strange-tempered man, but he's a level 6 spirit pill master. I came to him for pills, but I think he really doesn't know about such a disease. I've only heard about it here and there as well. Yi Mo wasn't going to let this opportunity to gain information pass, and he saluted with his fists and said, Dao friend please, do you know how to cure this will overexertion syndrome? The cultivator shook his head. The reason why I even know about it is because 70 years ago, I went with an elder to visit a Qianbei. He had seen this sort of patient before. That Qianbei said that this condition was caused by an obsessive will that surpassed the patient's love for life. If the patient can't be awakened on the mental level, he or she will be incurable otherwise. What did that Qianbei say in the end? Yi Mo asked desperately. Seeing Yi Mo was so desperate, the cultivator called Li replied with sympathy, that Qianbei couldn't cure it either. He just said that you need to understand the patient's obsession and then wake the patient up with mental and soul-type pills. But the soul-type pills are very precious. As though not wanting to see Yi Mo lose hope, Li added, even spirit sense repairing pills are very expensive. I heard that in the last pill concoction Hall of Fame tournament, one pill master used spirit attraction grass to create the spirit weaving pill. Perhaps you can go find him and see. Yi Mo was dazed. That person was him. If he had a way to cure this, why would he ask some level 6 spirit pill master? Seeing Yi Mo flustered, the cultivator continued, that Qianbei did say that there's a herb called Du Lan Chun Xiao. If you use this herb in a pill, it could perhaps wake up the patient. If the number 1 Hall of Fame pill master would be willing to help, perhaps this pill could really be made. Yi Mo suddenly realized his thinking had really been clouded because of being personally involved. Wasn't he a pill king level master? Yet in his desperation, he couldn't think of that much. He didn't even come up with the diagnose that Su Jingwen was just in a state of too much obsession. He knew the Du Lan Chun Xiao. It was a type of level 3 spirit herb. It did have great potency for curing spirit and mental type conditions, and perhaps he could really use this herb to make a pill and test it out. Not to mention, he knew that Su Jingwen's obsession might be related to him. The only difficulty now would be to find the Du Lan Chun Xiao. It was just a level 3 spirit herb, but it was very rare. As rare as level 5 spirit herbs. The herb wasn't as difficult to make a pill with as the spirit attraction grass, but it was still very hard. But since he could put the spirit attraction grass into a pill, why couldn't he do the same to Du Lan Chun Xiao? Thinking about this, Yi Mo felt relieved. Even if he couldn't make the Du Lan Chun Xiao into a pill, he still had the spirit recovery pill. That was a heaven-grade level 3 pill, the best pill for recovering injuries to the soul. Even if he couldn't cure Su Jingwen, he could make her better. Yi Mo immediately put a spirit recovery pill in her mouth. It melted immediately, and Su Jingwen's eyes shut. After a while, she fell into sleep. Yi Mo rejoiced. Su Jingwen hadn't slept for a few days, and that's what worried him the most. If he hadn't refined her marrow for her, she really might not have lasted this long. Now that she was asleep, even if she didn't recover, it would allow him enough time to look for the herb. Seeing the possibility of curing her, Yi Mo rejoiced. He was very thankful to this cultivator, and he said, Brother Li, thank you, I was enlightened thanks to you. The cultivator looked at Su Jingwen in shock. I heard that Qianbei say that patients with this condition can't fall asleep. How did you make her fall asleep? This man had helped him a lot, so Yi Mo didn't want to lie to him. That was actually a spirit recovery pill I obtained by chance. What? The cultivator was shook. Are you talking about the Heaven Grade Level 3 Spirit Recovery Pill? He didn't know how the Spirit Recovery Pill was made, but he knew it was a Heaven Grade Level 3 pill. It was worth a fortune, and yet this cultivator just gave one to the woman in his arms. How wealthy was he? Yimo didn't want to talk much about it. Brother Li, I'm going to find the Dulan Chun Xiao. Farewell. Yimo wanted to tell the man his name, but since he was being hunted by so many people, he couldn't. The Li cultivator realized Yimo didn't want to talk about the spirit recovery pill, so he didn't ask and said, if you want to find the Dulan Chun Xiao, I know a place that will have it in 4 days. Where would that be? Yimo asked. In 4 days in Shuogan City, there will be a small-scale golden core state gathering. I heard that someone will be bringing the Dulan Chun Xiao there. I'm going there too. If you want to go, you can come with me, he said. This was too coincidental. Yet as Yimo studied this Li cultivator, he could see that his tone was genuine, and Yimo didn't feel there was anything wrong with him. He nodded. Thank you then, Brother Li. My name is Mo Ying. I'm a solo cultivator. What pill are you asking Sun Huchang to make that it will take a month? The cultivator smiled. I'm Li Jingwen. I am similarly a solo cultivator. I got 2 pieces of blue wen grass, and so I wanted to ask Pill Master Sun to concoct some blue wen pills. This Li Jingwen had helped him, so Yimo couldn't let him be scammed. Thinking about this, Yimo said, Brother Li, I'm not saying what you did was wrong, but the blue wen pill isn't something a level 6 spirit pill master can concoct. It requires at least a level 7 spirit pill master. As for special grade ones, only pill kings can make them. Li Jingwen smiled bitterly. Of course I know that, but out of all the pill masters I know, Pill Master Sun is the highest level. I wouldn't be able to afford level 7 or above spirit pill masters. Sigh. Yimo immediately understood the hardship of Li Jingwen. Yimo was a pill king, so he didn't experience the pain of ordinary cultivators. He thought for a moment and said, Brother Li, if I'm not wrong, Li Jingwen shouldn't be able to make it. He's lying to you saying that it takes 1 month to make 2. I've made the blue wen pill before, and even a bad level 7 spirit pill master wouldn't need a day. You a level 7 spirit pill master? Li Jingwen was shocked. Chapter 962, Golden Core State Gathering. Chapter 962, Golden Core State Gathering. That's right, I'm a level 7 spirit pill master. If you're willing to trust me, I can concoct the blue wen pill for you. I'm sure that Sun Huchang is tricking you. Whether or not he has the ability to concoct it is questionable, but just based on how he says it will be done in a month, it doesn't sound trustworthy. Yimo really didn't like this Sun Huchang, but he had a good impression of Li Jingwen. Yimo thought Li Jingwen would be rather careful about letting him concoct the pill for him, as after all, the blue hen herb was precious. But what he didn't expect was that Li Jingwen only hesitate for a moment before saying, Brother Mo, I trust you. I believe you're a level 7 spirit pill master. Yimo was surprised. He didn't think Li Jingwen would be that honest. It's good Yimo wasn't planning on tricking him. Li Jingwen said, if you can give this woman a heaven grade level 3 spirit recovery pill, it means you're someone who values the more important things in life. I don't believe someone like that is a liar. Yimo knew what Li Jingwen meant. In the cultivation realm, even a husband and wife might not give each other a heaven grade level 3 pill. Sun Huchang was very happy today. He just got 2 blue wen herbs. Although he couldn't make it yet, once he became a level 7 spirit pill master, he would. The blue wen pills made from these 2 herbs would be enough to support him up to the golden core state peak stage. As for Li Jingwen, he would find some excuse and compensate him with a bit of spirit stones. But before he could finish enjoying his mood, his 2 female disciples reported that Li Jingwen was outside. He felt strange. Why had Li Jingwen come back right after he'd just left? In any case, Sun Huchang kept his 2 blue wen herbs and went. He couldn't just avoid him after all. Thinking about this, Sun Huchang left and came up to Li Jingwen with a serious face. Brother Li, did you forget about something? Li Jingwen said with awkwardness, Pill Master Sun, could you give back my 2 blue wen herbs for now? I would like to ask for your help in 4 days instead. Sun Huchang was shook and quickly asked, "Why?" "I was studying the herbs right now. If I get them 4 days later, it will delay the time you get the pills." Li Jingwen shook his head. "I know, but I have no choice. I want to see if I can trade the herbs for some blue wen pills during the gathering in 4 days in Shuogan City. If not, then I'll come back to ask for your help. Please understand." Sun Huchang heard this and looked at him in shock. "You want to trade blue wen herbs for blue wen pills? You know that's impossible." Li Jingwen sighed. "I know it's very hard, but how can I be sure it won't work if I don't try? If I don't try, I can't put my heart at ease." Sun Huchang looked at Yi Mo. Li Jingwen was someone very easy to talk to, so why did he change his mind so quickly? Clearly this had something to do with Yi Mo. But he was sure that even if someone had blue wen pills at the gathering, they wouldn't trade it for blue wen herbs. But the blue wen herbs belonged to Li Jingwen, and he had only just given them to him. He couldn't even find an excuse not to give it back. If Li Jingwen came back the next day, he could say that he had already started making it. But Li Jingwen hadn't even left for 10 minutes. Not to mention that Li Jingwen was no weaker than him. If they fought, he might not be a match for him. Sun Huchang felt very unhappy. Even though he was sure that Li Jingwen wouldn't be able to trade his herbs for the blue wen pill, he would still feel more secure if he kept the blue wen herb on himself. "Pill Master Sun." Li Jingwen reminded Sun Huchang of his presence, seeing he wasn't talking. Okay, since Brother Li wants to try, I agree of course." Sun Chochang took out the 2 jade boxes in the end. After Li Jingwen confirmed that the boxes contained his blue wen herbs, he nodded and said to Sun Huchang, "Thank you, Pill Master Sun, I'll be leaving now. Brother Mo, let's go together." Sun Huchang looked at Yi Mo and said, "Friend, if you don't mind, I would like to invite you to my place. I can help you look at this patient." How could Yi Mo not know what Sun Huchang was planning? He didn't want to let go of the blue wen herb and hated him for seemingly meddling. Or perhaps he called him in so that Li Jingwen would follow as well. This way, he could take revenge against him and get the blue wen herb from Li Jingwen at the same time. But Yi Mo had no time to bullsh tea with this random person. Even if he could save Jingwen, he wasn't going to beg Sun Huchang. So Yi Mo ignored Sun Huchang and said to Li Jingwen, "Well, let's go then." Then, he released a simple flying sword and left the place with Li Jingwen quickly. Seeing the two leave like that, Sun Huchang's face turned green. "Insolent brat, how dare you ruin my plans and act so cocky? In 4 days, you will be dying at Shuogan City." After Li Jingwen left the mountain, he immediately stopped and gave the blue wen herbs to Yi Mo. He didn't ask Yi Mo to give him anything in return as insurance or anything and just left Yi Mo to concoct the pills. He simply arranged to meet up with Yi Mo 4 days later in Shuogan City and left. Seeing him leave, Yi Mo sighed. Li Jingwen was nice and trusted people easily, but he wasn't really an idiot. Or else, he wouldn't use the excuse of trying to trade his herbs at the gathering to ask for his herbs back. No one who had cultivated to the golden core state tertiary stage was dumb. Li Jingwen's character was just much better than ordinary cultivators. But once it involved his interests, Yi Mo believed this man would surely have a way to retaliate. Although Sun Huchang took back his herbs easily, if Yi Mo couldn't provide him the blue wen pills at the latest a month later, he wouldn't end well. The reason why he trusted Yi Mo was because he gave a spirit recovery pill to Su Jingwen and didn't even care. Compared to the spirit recovery pill, the blue wen pill was nothing. That night, Yi Mo arrived at Ganshuro City. It was tens of thousands of kilometers from Jiangchuan, but Yi Mo finally found out why the cities around there were so arid in Spirit Kai. There was a level 6 spirit gathering formation here. This high-level formation required supreme means and top-quality materials. With such a powerful spirit gathering formation around, of course the Spirit Kai from the area would get sucked over. The Spirit Kai here, however, was almost as good as in Broken Leaf City. But without a spirit range, Ganshuro City would become like Jiangchuan City eventually. Yi Mo found a hotel to settle down Su Jingwen before starting to concoct the blue wen pill. Li Jingwen had only given the 2 blue wen herbs to Yi Mo. He didn't provide any supplementary herbs. But Yimo didn't really mind. Li Jingwen had helped him. Furthermore, Yimo had too many blue wen herbs and more than 100 blue wen pills. The herbs he got weren't very aged, but he still made 12 blue wen pills in 2 tries. They were all special grade pills. Yimo put them into bottle and started organizing his loot. He had obtained multiple golden core state storage rings from the all-herb mountain ranges, but there wasn't anything really good inside. Fade Xijiang's storage ring had a level 7 water mobility rune and the stone stool. It was exactly the same as the one he got from Tianzi. The 2 stools resonated with each other. Yimo didn't know how Fade Xijiang could have the stone stool, but he knew it wasn't ordinary. Tianzi was no ordinary old man. Yimo put them inside the golden page world and started counting his spirit stones. He had more than 7 million top-grade spirit stones, more than 5 million middle-grade spirit stones and more than 4 million low-grade spirit stones. 3 days passed by quickly, and Yimo didn't go anywhere. He was studying the Tianhua pill. As for Su Jingwen, she was sleeping most of the time. When Yimo carried Su Jingwen on his back to the location of the gathering, Miaoxiong Tower, Li Jingwen was already waiting for him. Chapter 963, I'll take it. Chapter 963, I'll take it. Li Jingwen saw Yimo look over and put on a joyous face, but Yimo could see a sliver of unease in his eyes. Clearly, although he gave the 2 herbs to Yimo quickly, he still had some worry in the depth of his heart. After all, he had only seen Yimo once. Despite Li Jingwen not asking him about it, Yimo still gave him a jade bottle and said, "The pill's ready, have a look." Li Jingwen heard this and his hands shook. He really couldn't find a level 7 spirit pill master anywhere and thus took this gamble. He didn't think he would really get a bottle of blue wen pill. Even though he was golden core state level 7, he still couldn't control his excitement. He carefully took the jade bottle and opened it. Inside were 12 special grade blue wen pills. This. Li Jingwen felt dazed for a moment and reacted, "I don't need that much. The supplementary herbs were supplied by you. You only need to give me 4 or 5. Although Li Jingwen knew Yimo might be a level 7 spirit pill master, he didn't have much hope. But clearly, he trusted Yimo more than Sun Haochang. Even so, he would be very happy if he got 2 pills back. Yimo waved his hand. "You trusted me to concoct pills for you. Plus, you've helped me as well. Although the blue wen pills are precious, I don't really care." Yimo knew that Li Jingwen probably could tell he wasn't poor, so he didn't need to act poor. Li Jingwen thought for a moment and knew Yimo was telling the truth. He said gratefully, "In that case, I'll be taking advantage of you this time. If you need me in the future, I will help for sure." Yimo's impression of Li Jingwen was getting better and better. He intentionally said those things, but Li Jingwen didn't seem like he intended to rob him at all. Many people would think of ways to rob another cultivator who was weaker than them but had more valuables. Li Jingwen's eyes didn't even flutter after learning Yimo was wealthy. He was truly an honest person. Wait, this is special grade. Li Jingwen thought of something and opened the bottle again. He looked at Yimo in shock. "You're a pill." Li Jingwen realized he was at least a level 1 pill king. Yimo knew Li Jingwen was going to say pill king, but he waved his hand and stopped him. "You just need to know yourself, Brother Li. If you need help in the future, just ask me." Li Jingwen was shook. He didn't think that a random person he met would turn out to be a pill king, and such a young one at that. He could also concoct the spirit recovery pill. Didn't this mean that he was at least a level 3 pill king? Such a young level 3 pill king? Li Jingwen suddenly realized that this person wasn't Mo Ying, he was Yimo. The number 1 of the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame. Who else could he be? "You're from the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame." Li Jingwen realized, and started to voice this thought. How could Yimo let him? He quickly cut him off by interjecting, "Yes, Brother Li, sorry for hiding this from you before, I had no choice." Li Jingwen heard this and knew his guess was correct, his eyes reflecting more surprise and joy. It was like a heavenly gift for him to know a pill king. As they spoke, a few more golden core state cultivators arrived. One of them knew Li Jingwen and greeted him. Li Jingwen was originally planning to help Yi Mo get the Dulan Chun Xiao no matter what, but since he knew Yi Mo was the pill concoction hall of fame #1, he knew why Yi Mo was so wealthy. He wouldn't need his help. Miaoxiong Tower was a brothel. The female cultivators here were all experienced in the art of jewel cultivation. But today, the Golden Core State cultivators weren't here for the girls, they were here for the social, so excepting a few, the cultivators didn't need female company. Yi Mo carried a woman on his back, so no female cultivator went up to solicit him. "Brother Li, you're here earlier than me," Sun Huchang said. Li Jingwen had already got his blue when pill and would have left if he wasn't here to accompany Yi Mo, so he just casually replied to Sun Hochang's words. Sun Hochang's face was unsightly. He scanned Yi Mo coldly and made up his mind that no matter what this person wanted he would buy it first, and he wouldn't mind killing this cultivator if he got the chance. As for the beautiful woman on his back, if she could recover, she could become a female disciple to serve him. If not, he would just kill her as well. The social was held in a bright and clean hall. When Yi Mo and Li Jingwen entered, there were already 40 people present. Yi Mo sat in one corner with Su Jingwen. Li Jingwen sat not far from Yi Mo's son. Huchang intentionally sat opposite to Yi Mo. In his mind, he would show this Golden Core State primary stage that there were some people he couldn't afford to offend. 15 minutes later, 53 Golden Core State cultivators sat in the hall. After the door closed, Yi Mo found that other than the female waiters, he was the weakest one there. The weakest cultivator besides him was a Golden Core State level 4. But Yi Mo didn't mind, his power had greatly increased and he had mastered the Purple Eye Soul Sever level 1. He wasn't afraid of anyone here even before he had learnt it, but now, he was confident in killing Golden Core State peak stage. Seeing that Yi Mo, a mere Golden Core State level 2, dared to come to a high-level Golden Core State social, many people were shocked. Seeing that he came along with Li Jingwen though, they understood that this Golden Core State level 2 was being protected by him. However, Li Jingwen was only Golden Core State level 7 himself. Seeing that all the cultivators were here, a Golden Core State peak stage cultivator got up and said, "This is a social within our small region, most of you people here are solo cultivators. The purpose of the social, as you all know, is for us to get what we need the most. Okay, let's cut the bullshit, I'll start." Then the cultivator took out a palm-sized ship and began, "This is a top-grade flying spirit artifact. I hardly need to explain its value. It uses small spirit stones and is very fast. It also has a very special property, stealth." Yi Mo saw this and was interested. Ever since his flying pike broke, he hadn't gotten a flying magic artifact. The ones he got from the Golden Core State storage rings were very low grade, even his Z-Shoe was better. This cultivator scanned the excited cultivators and continued, "I didn't want to sell this, but I've been stuck in Golden Core State for too long, so I want to trade for a cow horn pill or a similar pill." People in the room were immediately disappointed. How precious was the cow horn pill? It was the most important pill for Golden Core State cultivators. No one would be dumb enough to trade a cow horn pill for this. "Dao friend Jiao, your flying spirit artifact is precious, but it's not worth a cow horn pill plus, it has close to no defense abilities. This greatly diminishes its value," a Golden Core State level 9 pointed out. The Golden Core State peak stage felt a little awkward. He knew that it wasn't worth the pill but he wanted to test his luck. "I'll offer 200k top-grade spirit stones and 1 low-grade flying spirit artifact," a voice suddenly said. The cultivator shook his head and responded, "I don't need spirit stones. I need pills or herbs helpful to me. Plus, this price is far from what I wanted." No one made a bid. Everyone wanted the flying spirit artifact, but the price was absurd. Yi Mo had the cow horn pill, but taking it out here it would be tantamount to suicide. But he still had a lot of good things. "Does any friend want to trade for this?" the cultivator asked. "If not, then bring out the next item." "I'll take the flying spirit artifact," a voice suddenly sounded out, catching everyone's attention. Chapter 964, Whole Scene Envious. Chapter 964, Whole Scene Envious. Everyone looked at the cultivator who made the bid. When everyone saw it was just a golden core state level 2 cultivator, they were all dazed. This was a joke. There were 53 golden core state cultivators present, and this golden core state level 2 fellow was the weakest. When everyone else couldn't afford it, this cultivator said he was going to take it. Brother Mo, Li Jingwen reminded Yi Mo worriedly. Although this was a private small gathering, if you messed around, people would still punish you. Not only would you not be allowed to make any more bids, you would even have to give compensation to the other party. This compensation purely depended on the person's mood. If they were in a bad mood and made you hand over your storage ring, you had no choice but do so. You were allowed to make a bid on anything you wanted, but your bid had to be at least similar to what the other requested. If the difference was too huge, then it was considered messing around. How could a golden core state level 2 cultivator have something that matched a top-grade flying spirit artifact? Sun Huchang was surprised but quickly reacted. This golden core state level 2 cultivator didn't know the rules of the gathering and wanted whatever he liked. The time for him to suffer was coming. Now, he was even grateful that Li Jingwen had brought over Yi Mo. That golden core state peak stage cultivator was originally happy when he heard someone make a bid, but when he realized it was a golden core state level 2 cultivator, his face sunk. This cultivator was too young and his face didn't make him think of anyone special. Clearly, it was his first time here. Dao friend, do you know what the consequences are if you can't take out something I'm happy with? The cultivator said with an unhappy voice. Yi Mo didn't know what the consequences were, but he was no idiot. These sort of small gatherings cared about credibility the most. It would be no good for him to lie. When everyone looked at him, he said calmly, I can't take out the cow Huan pill then that means you're here to play with me. The cultivator, who was called Jo, had his voice turn cold. He was ready to fight Yi Mo if Yi Mo had nothing reasonable to say. Brother Jo, calm down. Let's see his bid first. If you're not happy with it, then you can speak, an ordinary-looking woman said. She was in her 40s, at golden core state level 9. Yi Mo nodded to her in gratitude. Hihi, big sister Lian, you must not have had a young guy in a while, another golden core state level 9 cultivator laughed. Big sister Lian's face went cold. Guan Senping, what's that got to do with you? Even if you let me use your matchstick I wouldn't be interested in using it. Perhaps this struck him where it hurt. Guan Senping grunted and didn't look too happy. Yi Mo didn't wait for anyone else to say anything else and took out a crisp green vine. It was a level 6 herb. Yi Mo had gotten it from the Mist Valley. It had two main functions. One was to be used in making the soul gathering pill. The soul gathering pill could increase a golden core state peak stage's chances of reaching the nascent soul state. The effects weren't as big as the cow Huan pill, but it was still a heaven grade level 1 pill. Its other important function was to make the nascent soul state pill. That was a pill nascent soul state cultivators could use in their cultivation. But rarely anyone used it for the second purpose as it was too much of a waste. A crisp green vine, the cultivator looked clearly at what was in Yi Mo's hand, and he jumped. This was the thing he wanted. If there was no cow Huan fruit, the crisp green vine was the best option for him. A crisp green vine? Most of the other golden core state tertiary stage cultivators opened their eyes wide staring at the crisp green vine. This to them was much more important than some flying spirit artifact. If they found a pill king to help them concoct pills with it, they could get 1 to 2 soul gathering pill out of it. A soul gathering pill's temptation was irresistible to those golden core state peak stage cultivators. The Jiao cultivator really wanted Yi Mo's crisp green vine, but he felt like using 1 crisp green vine to trade for his top-grade flying spirit artifact was a bit unbalanced. After all, it had to be made into a pill first. If the concoction failed, he would get nothing. I need this indeed, but you've only got 1 herb. If you had 2. The Jiao cultivator stated his problem. Jiao, if you don't want it, I'll take it. Friend, I have a top-grade spirit artifact. It's not a flying spirit artifact, but it's a rare offensive spirit artifact. Another golden core state peak stage cultivator stood out and said. He couldn't care about rules anymore. This involved the possibility of him reaching the nascent soul state. He might never get to see a second crisp green vine in his life. Jinsha, are you going to obey the rules or not? I'm the one offering a trade right now, it's not your turn yet. How can you intervene? The Geo cultivator roared in anger. The Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator laughed and didn't say anything. He had reached his goal already. If Yimo wanted his top-grade offensive spirit artifact, then he wouldn't trade with the Geo fellow. However, Yimo already had Zishu and didn't care about attack spirit artifacts. He just wanted a flying spirit artifact. He understood the Geo cultivator's hesitation. Perhaps if he persisted for a bit longer, he would eventually trade it, but Yimo didn't have the mood to be petty about little things, so he took out a spirit crystal and said, I've only got one crisp green vine, but I'll add a spirit crystal. I think that's about the same worth as what you wanted. Seeing how crazy these Golden Core State cultivators were for the crisp green vine, he felt lucky he didn't take out the cow horn pill. Even for the crisp green vine, he could only allow himself to take out one despite having more than 20. A spirit crystal? Okay, I'll trade it. Jojuran threw the top-grade flying spirit artifact to Yimo. Yimo confirmed it and gave the spirit crystal and crisp green vine to Jojuran. The first deal ended like that. No one expected that the first exchange would involve such good things. After the first deal, every cultivator looked at Yimo fervently. Who knows what other good things he had? Sun Huchang regretted very much that he didn't try harder to have Yimo stay a few days earlier. If he had taken out Yimo, these things would all be his. Now that this Golden Core State Level 2 cultivator had exposed so many good things, his life would already be reserved for other people. Li Jingwen dazed upon seeing this and soon knew Yimo would be in a predicament. The things he took out didn't match his power. If he was a Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator, then it would be more reasonable for him to take out such things. He frowned but still decided to help Yimo. It's my turn. I have a Spirit Grade Level 6 cultivation method. It's an escape-type secret technique. Once you activate it, not even nascent soul state cultivators can catch up to you. However, it can save your life, but it does use some essence blood. The second cultivator got up. He looked honest, but Yimo knew one couldn't judge people by their looks. Fei Zijiang looked more honest than anyone, yet he was very cocky. Everyone understood this was a blood escape type secret technique. It was equally valuable as a top-grade spirit flying artifact. Many people who didn't have escape means were interested in this escape technique. This cultivator then looked at Yimo and continued, I want to trade it for a half-step extreme grade attack magic artifact. I don't mind the type. Of course, if there's things like the crisp green vine, I'm willing to trade too. Perhaps Yimo would be interested in this if he didn't have the 5-element mobility technique, but now, he really wasn't interested in this spirit grade mobility technique. After all, the 5-element mobility technique was heaven grade. Seeing that Yimo didn't reply, this cultivator looked at the others in disappointment and continued, if any of you have something I'm interested in, I can also trade it. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.